Diesel, I think our intro should be Buzz Lightyear instead of this one because when you forget to press the button, that's what happens.
It's a hard thing. Like, you want to listen to it because it sounds awesome.
It does, don't it? It really
does.
To
infinity.
That's what it was.
Wire to wire.
I just I wanted to hear it today. I just hadn't heard it in a while. I wanted to make sure it still worked, right?
Like, you remember when it was really cool to have ringback tones?
Yeah.
Like, some people you would hope that they didn't answer the phone because they had a cool ringback tone. And you're like, I'd rather listen to Baby Got Back than talk to you.
And just listen to it over and over?
Yeah.
It's bad, but true. You're right. All right, let's get right into it. This was fascinating, Diesel. Over the weekend, there was an article by our good buddy who comes on this program by David Hood. The article headline, Garrett Riley lands his Jalen Hurts. Fair or unfair is the question. I ask you, Diesel, as well as our Tolos. We hope everyone had a good 4th of July weekend. Article headline again, tigernet.com. David Hood, we appreciate him writing this so we would have an opening topic.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, thanks, David. We appreciate the content, right? Always does a tremendous job writing, as well as when he comes on this very program. However, is it fair to use the headline, Garrett Riley has his Jalen Hurts, when talking about, I'm not saying comparing because I do want to be fair to David. David never compared him. But when talking about 3-star quarterback that Clemson landed over the weekend in Tate Reynolds, Diesel, what say you?
Well, where was Jalen Hurts as a prospect? He was a 4-star prospect, rated a 95 overall, the national 104th best player in his class, and the number 1 dual threat quarterback in his class. Where is Tate?
Probably pretty close, right? You would assume.
Tate is the number 28 quarterback in his class. Number 1 dual threat. I guess they break him down in different categories. Number 1 dual threat for Jalen Hurts versus the number 28 prospect in Tate's class. Now, granted, remember, that's 2 years from now. That's the 2026 class.
He's
Tate
a junior.
Is a junior right now. He's a 3-star guy right now. And you and I both know, Cole, that a lot of times where you're getting offers from affects your star rating.
Sure.
So if he's a 3-star guy now with 2 years to play, guess what? He still has a lot of time to improve and probably improve his star rating. Because that's what happens. If you're a 3-star and you get an offer from Penn State, suddenly, bam, you're a 4-star.
It'll probably jump. What you're saying. I agree with that. I want to hear from you, the Tolos, 71307. Start your text with the word fan. We're also live on the stream, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Already have 56 people watching. JD says, what's up in the stream? He's in there. Hop in there with him. It's fascinating. Jalen Hurts, to your point, he was a really good quarterback once he got into college. Did he have to sit on the bench? Did he have to wait for his time at Alabama? No, he didn't. Obviously, we know that he went to Oklahoma in 2019, but Diesel, 2016 freshman, played 15 games, 240 completions, 2,780 yards, 23 touchdowns to 9 interceptions as a freshman, quarterback rating of 139 as a true freshman. 2017, didn't have as many yards, not as many touchdowns either, still kept his turnover ratio low, only 1 interception in 2017. And in 2018, he was a junior quarterback. His playing time went down. 2019, transferred to the Big 12 and absolutely lit it up. 237 completions, 3,851 yards, granted against the Big 12 defense, 32 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. A really solid college career. If we were to say college football Hall of Fame worthy, Diesel, I think these numbers definitely scratch the surface of being elite at the college level. I don't think it's unfair for David to put the headline that Garrett Riley found his next Jalen Hurts. However, when you start doing that, those are big shoes to fill, right?
Yeah, he's got a long way to go, I think. And I'm sure a lot of Gamecock fans, you could build a new road up to Charlotte, with the miles of eye rolling that they're throwing out there. Oh, God, they got a new Jalen Hurts. Really? He's a 3-star. Big whoop. Like, do you really land 3-star guys? I mean, he's a 3-star guy from all the way across the country. Maybe Clemson is on him early. Mm-hmm. And if that's what Garrett Riley has done, if he's identified a guy that he thinks has the chance to be that good early, great, I guess. But, I mean, you know how this goes. I'm sure that Gamecock fans everywhere are just like, really? Give me a break. Tell me when he does something with this guy. I mean, hopefully he won't have to be a starter as a true freshman the way Jalen Hurts was, because he's going to have to get through. Will Klubnik still be on the roster that year?
I don't think he will be. No,
so he'll be gone. There'll be Christopher Vazina, and then the guy who lit it up this year in the spring game, Trent Pierman. He'll have to get through both of those guys to be the starter. And if both of those guys wash out and you have to go to Tate, then you got yourself a problem.
To your point, he is young, right? He'll be a junior in the fall. He's a 2-sport athlete. He was committed to Arizona State as a baseball player, decommitted. Clemson was on him hot and heavy. The last quarterback to play 2 sports at Clemson. It worked for him. He wasn't elite at the quarterback position, but Kyle Parker did it not too long ago, right? So let's see what David Hood meant, Diesel, by putting the headline of the article, Garrett Riley has his Jalen Hurts. David yesterday put in the article, Reynolds camped at Clemson in early June, earned an offer from Riley, the Tigers offensive coordinator, also spent a lot of time with Dabo Swinney during his visit. Reynolds said, it's been very busy, but it's also a lot of fun and a lot of hard work. I feel like I've been getting a lot better and having fun. So when you look at the quarterback of Reynolds, I think to myself, why did David make that comparison, or did he create that headline? So here's what Coach Riley said to Reynolds. Coach Riley told me this, which I'm kind of pumped about because this is my guy. This is kind of the guy I look up to. But he said, I look like Jalen Hurts a little bit. That pumps me up because I love that guy. So that's from Reynolds, right? Garrett Riley went up to Tate Reynolds and said, basically, you look like Jalen Hurts a little bit. So I ask you the question, is it okay, Diesel, for us to continue to make these kind of, and again, I want to be clear, I'm not saying David compared him to Jalen Hurts, but is it okay to associate kids who are still in high school with guys who are playing in Super Bowls? Is that okay? Is that just something that's just not fair to you?
It's just, first of all, it's us who are the problem with this. It's you and I. It's all the people who are reading this article going, oh my God, how could you, you can compare them based on their build, based on their athletic ability, based on what you think of their decision-making. Look, I mean, are we not even allowed to compare somebody to someone that they make us think about anymore? I mean, like whenever I'm trying to describe a new band to somebody, I say, oh, well, it's kind of a mix of this band and that band. Mm-hmm. Well, is it fair if for me to compare a new band that's only got one EP out to like legendary bands that have a 40-year career? Sure. Because there's some similarities in how they sound and how they write.
You know what's funny, Diesel? The reality of it is it depends on the fan base, right? What I mean is, if you remember, South Carolina fans lost their ever-loving mind when Dabo Swinney compared Deshaun Watson to Michael Jordan, right? They went nuts. They went ballistic. People talked about it for months, comparing a guy in Deshaun coming out of high school to Michael Jordan. South Carolina fans hated that. So, to my point is, I don't have a problem with the headline of the article, to your point. You do it, everybody does it. It's part of life. However, it's always the opposite fan base. It's always the people who hate you who have a problem with it, right? Because you and I objectively can sit here and say, to your point, well, if he has traits of Jalen Hurts, Garrett Riley is a smart guy, right? Garrett Riley's no idiot when it comes to football. So when he watches him on film, when he watches Tate Reynolds on film, Garrett Riley must see qualities and traits that Jalen Hurts had. And I think that's why he made that comment.
Well, there's 1,000,001 names that a guy like Garrett Riley could throw out as the comparison. I mean, somebody else who has that sort of eye for here's some similarities, here's some traits, here's what I think you guys kind of have a similar skill set to. He could have said 10 other names, and the internet probably would have freaked out about them too. Like, what if he said, oh, you got something that reminds me a little bit of Joe Montana?
Yeah.
Right? So first of all, I want to know, what is it specifically about Tate Reynolds that reminds you of Jalen Hurts? I need to know what that is, right? Because if you just leave it generic and say, you remind me of Jalen Hurts, well, that allows people to speculate wildly about what it is. Or they don't even think, right? Their eyes roll back in their head and they start screaming on the internet. So first of all, you got to explain to me what it is about him that reminds you of him, and also understand that these guys know that this is going to be picked up by the media. These guys know that the fact that you made this comparison, it's going to make people pique their interest and say, "What? Tell me more."
Reynolds, a two-sport athlete, like I said a minute ago, who also plays baseball, says his ability to play different sports is one of the things that Clemson liked about him. Reynolds says, they love how athletic I am. They love the fact that I can do a lot of things. I had the legs, super fast, can run. They love that about me from what they told me. He also went on to say, I felt like the timing was right. I know where I want to go, and I know that they gave me the offer. I just love everything about Clemson, says Reynolds. Everything about Clemson is just real. They're a bunch of winners. They work hard, and they get after it, and they have fun doing it. That is the people that I want to be around. So, again, it's a big commitment on Clemson's part. He is a 3-star, but that really goes to the point that you made earlier in the segment. You and I have talked about this. How much of that does that really mean, right?
Yeah.
The stars. I mean, we're kind of past the point, at least I am. I'm kind of past the point where I judge a player based on how many stars they have from a media outlet.
Yeah, these services that do this 24/7 on 3, they all want to be the one that people pay attention to. They know full well that the exact same guy, if 24/7 has him graded as a high 4-star, they can grade him as a high 5-star. And guess what? Everybody's going to flock to their website to see why this website thinks he's a 5-star. More of these are given out. And that's not even an opinion. That is fact. More 4- and 5-star grades have been given out over the past couple of years than they ever used to get before. So there's either high school athletes are getting that much better to where we're just producing more blue chip guys out of high school, which I think there is some element to that. It's not entirely the truth, but also it's all about hype.
It is,
man. It's all about so these kids can put 4-star in their Twitter bio. It's so that On 3 can say they're a 5-star guy and get them to come to their website instead of the other website. I mean, it's all bogus. It's all bogus. Like the number of how many 5-star guys have you ever seen suck at the high school, or suck at the college level and not make it to the pros? A bunch.
Sure.
It happens all the time, right? So I wouldn't put a ton of stock into it. You know, you want to make sure you're getting, I mean, if they're grading them a 4-star, it's probably fairly accurate if they had him graded as a 4-star early. But anything beyond that, like, probably doesn't really mean a whole lot. I mean,
but to your point, 2 years from now, he might be a 4 or a 5.
Yeah. Well, the truth is, this is not Madden, right?
Yeah.
This is not college football 2025, where the star rating actually affects how your player performs.
Sure.
This is real life where that doesn't matter, but people lose their mind for it anyway because, well, it's fun and it's interesting.
Tate Reynolds is currently the only player committed to Clemson from the 2026 class. If you look at the 2025 class and looking at the quarterback position, they do have Blake Herbert, and I believe that is it. Blake Hebert. Sorry, it's not like Justin Herbert. Blake Hebert is committed. He is from Greenwich, Connecticut, dual threat quarterback. They have him graded as a 4-star. And again, he's class of 2025. And Tate Reynolds will join him in that commitment, but is the only player thus far committed to Clemson in the 26 class. So a lot of things to keep your eyes on. And the reality of it is, Diesel, I think somebody said it in the stream, 2 years from now, he might not even be committed to Clemson, right?
Yeah.
You would hope.
Yeah.
But he was already committed to Arizona State for baseball.
Yeah, I would think that, we don't hear a lot of guys decommitting from Clemson. It's one of those, if you put any stock in this or not, the Clemson offer is special.
Yeah.
It means, it has more weight to it. It does happen. Guys do decommit from Clemson, but it's, I think, a little more rare than it is at other places.
And to give Clemson credit, to your point, a lot of that happens after they get on campus and find out, oh, I don't have as much playing time as I thought I'd have, right? They realize there's guys ahead of them that are a little bit better. We've seen that here recently from the football program. But, Clemson quarterback situation, adding Tate Reynolds, it does give you a little bit of I don't want to say it gives you a little bit of comfort for the future, but to your point earlier, I mean, there's not that guy right now in the looming in the distance, Diesel, that really excites Clemson fans like Deshaun did and like Trevor Lawrence did, because Cade, Vicina, Trent Pierman, how much longer are those guys going to be there after this year? We don't really know.
Yeah, this to me is sort of the insurance policy where you have to have a quarterback in every class.
Yeah.
I mean, like, these guys aren't under any illusions, right? They know that there's two other quarterbacks on the roster who are 4- and 5-star guys rated higher than them. They understand that, man, I want to play immediately, but the way the system is built is I may not be able to start until I'm a junior or a senior at this school. I mean, that's not how they recruit anymore. You have to recruit. You have to commit knowing that you may not be the guy.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and I was just going to say that this is that insurance policy to say, okay, we've got the quarterback for the 2026 class. We can take a breath and move on from there.
I was looking at the current 2024 Clemson roster at the quarterbacks other than Vicina, Pierman, and Klubnik to see. They do have Ethan Anderson, a freshman out of Greenville, on the roster as a quarterback. So
who?
Yeah, there's 4. Ethan was a good high school player, but I don't think he had the national recognition. So as of right now, I've seen 4 quarterbacks on this year's roster. I don't know if that'll change before we get to the fall or not. I know one quarterback, Colby Shaw from Burns, was moved to tight end just recently. So it might be, as it looks right now, it might just be 4 quarterbacks, yes, on the roster for the Tigers.
Madcraft says, I think in some cases kids are getting bigger. A 6'7", 290 lineman will be hyped no matter what. That is true. JD says, I do think high school athletes are getting better than they have in the past, but the stars are rarely accurate. I should do some research on that. I don't see these very often. I don't see them as much as I should, and I wish more of these recruiting services would do this, but they don't want to prove themselves wrong. I love the class regrades. Where they'll
go back.
After 4 years after a class comes in, they go back and compare what they did, what they achieved, and how much better they got to the way they were graded. And like you said, you don't see that very often because that's them essentially saying, oh, we got this really, really wrong. This guy washed out. This guy sucked. This guy,
you're right about that.
Yeah. I mean, I do love seeing those. Those are entertaining, especially for guys like me who are a fan of a smaller school, where just because you're committed to a Sunbelt school, you're probably going to max out as a high 3-star, maybe a low 4-star. But as soon as you get that offer from NC State, guess what? You're a 4-star. Or as soon as you get that offer from Clemson, guess what? You're a 4-star. Player hasn't changed one bit.
Did you see where, not to get on a side note here, did you see where App State got the Bomar brothers that played at Burns last year that are now at Westside?
I did not.
Shamarius Bomar and Armani Weaver. Really good athletes. Both of them committed to App State.
Outstanding.
Got 2
good
brothers
choice
for you.
Yeah.
Brothers are going to App State, staying together.
Brothers got a hug.
I like it. So they're good, man. They're at Westside this year. They've transferred a couple of times. They were at Dorman, then Burns. Now they're at Westside. So we'll see. This will be their senior year, though.
When we come back, Cole, let's look at Clemson and South Carolina's game day football traditions and grade them.
Ooh.
Are they objectively cool, not as cool as Kool-Aid drinkers think they are, or lame AF? We're going to grade both Clemson and South Carolina's game day traditions next, right here on the Fan Upstate. For this segment, I'm going to need you, Clemson fans, and you, Gamecock fans, to be something that I'm not entirely sure you can be.
Pretty
objective.
Oh.
What? Why would you do that, Cole? Why would you tell all of our audience? Why would the words come out of Cole Bryson's mouth that y'all ain't pretty? Come on.
Come on.
No, I'm going to need you to be objective here for me. Okay. I'm going to need you to look at your rivals' traditions and tell me truthfully, honestly, do you think they're cool or do you think they're lame? I don't want you to automatically jump to lame because that's what Gamecock fans do. Anytime Clemson's brought up, they roll their eyes. Ugh, no, that's stupid. We would never do something like that down here.
You realize how hard of an objective it is?
Yeah.
Of what you're asking for
objectivity.
them to be.
Objectivity is in short supply in this country. But Cole, I want to look at Clemson and South Carolina football game day traditions, and I want to hear from you, Tolos. 71307. Start your text with keyword fan, or drop a comment on the Facebook stream, Twitter stream, or YouTube stream. We're going to go down the list here of game day traditions and tell me, do you think that tradition is objectively cool? Which means like, hey, I'm a Gamecock fan, but this thing they do at Clemson, like it's on point. It's actually pretty cool.
So let's all take all take our fan glasses off.
Right. You got to take those fan glasses off.
I just took mine off.
Option
I'm objective.
2, this tradition is not as cool as they think it is, or that it's lame AF. Okay? So let's start right here. If you win the last matchup, you get to go first. Clemson Tigers. Game day traditions, Cole. Easy start. Tiger walk. Lame.
Really?
Lame. It's lame. It's every single school does it. It's not cool when anyone does it. Stop the walks. Stop having your players put on a suit and tie and walk through a parking lot full of fans. It's stupid.
I'll go not lame.
What?
I'll go not lame. Just in general, for any school, I like it because I think it gives the fans an opportunity to see a side of the players they'll never see again. Like, when will you ever get to see the players up close like
Fan
that?
Fest. You can go to Fan Fest
and
see the players. You can go to autograph sessions.
You can't autograph an NI. You
can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp.
I like them. I like it. I like the kids up there, man. Like when they show the little kids getting high fives from the coaches. I love it. I love it.
Frankly, Howard brings up a good point. It says they have to walk to the stadium from there regardless. So what you're telling me, frankly, is that these players show up hours before kickoff, go inside, stretch, get treatment, whatever, put on their Tiger Walk clothes. Then they get driven to some other place in the parking lot and they walk through the parking lot again? It's lame.
There are a lot of logistics, right? Like, I'll not deny that, especially Clemson.
Stop with the Tiger Walk. South Carolina, y'all do it too.
You got to go here to go there to go here. It's like a maze.
Yeah, we're coming there. We're coming to you, Gamecock fans, with the Gamecock Walk, okay? It's stupid when y'all do it too. It's stupid when Tennessee does it. It's stupid when App State does it. Anybody that does it, it's lame. Like, why do a tradition if everyone else does the exact same tradition, other than singing the national anthem and, kissing a girl after you score a touchdown? Everybody should be doing that. But, like, the walks are dumb. Okay, so let's bring it to inside the stadium, Cole. I think the Tiger Walk is dumb. Let's get to the entrance.
All right, let's do it.
Bussing around the stadium. Objectively cool. Not as cool as Tiger fans think it is, or it's lame AF.
Objectively cool when you're good. Because the reality of it is, when you suck, nobody has time for the ambiance and the traditions.
Well, Clemson hasn't sucked in a long time.
You're right. But I'm just saying, when they suck, just let them walk out. My opinion on sports is, if you're good and you're winning, you get an entrance. If you suck at the moment, there's no entrance, there's no fireworks, there's no cockaboo. So you walk out, just holding your helmet, you walk out and get on the sideline. That's Cole's opinion. I like it.
I like it. I think it's objectively cool because it's unique. No one else does that. To my knowledge, no one else does anything like that at all.
Yeah.
to where, they built the locker rooms on the wrong side of the stadium, essentially, or they moved the locker rooms to the other side of the stadium, but they said, well, that's a tradition, so now we got to bust them around. I think it's cool. Let's see. Rubbing the rock before you run down the hill. Objectively cool, not as cool as Tiger fans think it is, or lame AF.
I'll go in the middle with this at the not as cool as people think it is. The only thing that The Rock and Clemson have going for them is the whole Frank Howard, the saying of, if you're not going to give 110%, keep your filthy hands off my rod, right? Like, that saying allowed them to have The Rock, and they play it at home games, and it's awesome. Because of this saying, they can have The Rock. If it wasn't for the saying, and it was just some rock from the desert, it'd be weird. But the saying does kind of tie it in.
Well, I'm going to say it's not as cool as Clemson fans think it is, only because even Frank Howard didn't value that rock, right? Like, we all know the story. Was it like a geology student picked it up from the desert, brought it back, and it sat on Frank Howard's floor as a doorstop for decades, and he didn't care about it. And then somebody just came up with a marketing idea. Hey, let's put it up there on that hill. Make people touch it. I think the way they present it in the stadium, kind of cool, but the fact that it's just all marketing BS. Like, he didn't care about the rock either. So I'm going to say it's not as cool as Clemson fans think it is.
You remember when it got vandalized a few years ago?
Yeah.
God, I forgot.
Hadn't it been vandalized multiple times?
Maybe yes.
Like, pieces have been chipped off of it multiple times, and now they finally put a silicone box around it or whatever, a glass box, bulletproof glass.
Yeah, there is a glass or a box structure around it now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, running down the hill, objectively cool, not as cool as Tiger fans think it is, or lame AF.
Oh, this one's tough, man.
I think it's objectively cool. Again, I value uniqueness.
Yep, I agree with you there.
I can't think of like, a lot of teams run out of the tunnel, right? That's lame. Running out of the tunnel is boring.
No, I agree with you there. I'm trying to think, is there any other team in college football that does something that unique? Not off the top of my head, right? Because you said it. They all run out of a tunnel. I can't think of another off the top of my head. I can't think of
the only thing that compares that I can think of is when Michigan players run out of the middle tunnel and they all jump up and they hit that banner.
Yeah, and
that's cool.
Do any teams still come out of the stands or no? Is that done anymore?
Out of the stands.
Remember when teams used to come out of the stands and like
I've heard of that. I think I've heard of that, but I don't know who does it anymore.
I don't either.
It's probably like a liability thing.
Could be.
Okay. Next up, now we get to actual in-game things. Okay, the woohoo. You know what I'm talking about?
100%. And I think Diesel. I think 70% of Clemson fans hate it.
Yeah,
I really do.
It's so lame.
Because if you're at a game and you hear the people that are not doing it and the people that do it, the people who aren't doing it are like, oh my God, quit. I think it's like I think it would be a 75-25. Most Clemson fans hate the woo.
Why do you still do it?
I know.
Why do y'all still do it? Tiger fans who do the woohoo, text in. Stop doing it. Tell me why you do it in the first place. Do you do it just because you heard somebody else doing it? Do you like it? Is it just ingrained in like what you like? You can stop. Like, you don't have to make the sound, right? Okay. Moving on from the woohoo, which I think we all agree is objectively lame AF. How about the lateral hand motion, the shake at kickoffs?
I think I go in the middle on that. Yeah. Don't love it. Don't hate it. Not as cool as Clemson fans think, maybe. Yeah. I mean, it's cool to see everybody's hands.
I like it. I put it in the middle. I don't think it's objectively cool. Like a lot of fans, they have they do the terrible towels. They do all different things with their hands at kickoffs. The shake, it's just another one. It's cool, but it's not like earth shattering.
Not make or break, right?
Yeah. How about the number 1 and the number 1/2 Tiger man in the plush costume mascots?
Not cool. It's not cool.
Well, it's so stupid.
What do you need a half mascot for?
Exactly. Is it for the kids?
I don't know.
Is that where it came from? Because it's stupid. It's stupid. The 1/2 mascot at Clemson is stupid.
The more you have of anything, the less of its value.
Here's one that I think is objectively cool, Cole. So you already know my answer on this.
Okay.
The section by section around the stadium, CLEMSON.
The top, right? Is it the top of the section? Top of the upper deck?
No, I mean it's all the way around the entire stadium.
Like
so
painted on it. You're talking about?
No.
Oh,
I'm talking about like where end zone left corner we'll do C. And the next section over goes L, and the next section goes E.
I'm with you now.
It's cool.
Yeah,
I think that's really cool.
I thought you meant how the top of the upper deck was painted. Okay,
no.
Yeah,
but section by section, spelling out Clemson around and around and around. I think that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That one gives me legitimate goosebumps. Like when it really starts going, when it's really, really good. All right, meeting at the Paw.
Objectively
cool. Not as cool as Clemson fans think it is.
I think this is the toughest one on the entire rundown because every year when Clemson wins a big game, Diesel, the entire nation, it's like everybody in America goes on Twitter and comments on how stupid it is that they're rushing the field after beating Louisville. When a lot of people don't know that they're not rushing the field because they beat Louisville. I like it. I'm a fan of it. However, it's not like make or break for me.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit overrated.
Yeah.
I understand the purpose of it. However, I don't hate it.
I think it's smart, number one, to help some traffic get out. Number two, it's a great way to run some energy out of your kids before you put them in the car and get them out the road. And here's where it's really smart, Cole. It maintains that emotional connection to being at that school and sort of builds and creates an emotional connection while you're still really little. Because if you grew up doing that, you got memories of doing it.
That's true.
And it kind of creates a love affair.
How about this? We were going to talk Braves. I was going to bring Braves up.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hit a break. Let's do South Carolina. We hadn't done South Carolina.
No, not yet. Right? We got South Carolina. We're coming to you next.
Okay, and then a couple of texts. Texter from the 803. Chance, Cole, la, 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 la. I'm not sure what that means, but I appreciate it. Scotty at BMW. They are pimping. Don't hate on the Tigers and Cox. Scotty also says, I woohoo because it's part of the Tigers fight song.
It's not part of the fight song.
So Scotty,
somebody in the 90s decided to start a woohoo there. And it was new in the 90s, Scotty. So it's not part of the fight song.
Scotty's a woohooer. Frankly, Howard Diesel on the stream talking about the rundown on the hill. I did like this comment. He said, honestly, it used to be cooler with balloons. Also, when they ran down like an angry mob and not so sporadic, it was better. I agree there. Trey asked, doesn't Tennessee do a T with the band and run through it? They might.
That's lame too.
They might do that.
It's lame.
Trey, you might be right. Brandon on the stream, 1/2 not cool. Agree on the
there you go.
The Tiger. All right, South Carolina, like you said, we'll get to their traditions. All of them are going to be fantastic, right? From our Tolos. They're going to love them. John Dog says, keep the fans off the field, stop the walk, lame AF. We'll get to South Carolina next. Frankly, Howard on the stream, he says, I will not hold back on my Gamecock traditions.
Yeah, but here's the thing now, frankly, we are now on to you. If you vote that every single Gamecock tradition is lame, all of your comments will be disqualified.
Well, do you
won't get a vote.
A Clemson guy like that to be?
I do expect you to do it because I asked you to do it.
Well,
I asked you Tolos
maybe one
to be
time
objective
they can do
here.
it today. Just for once, right? Just one time is all Diesel's asking.
Remember they took the glasses off?
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
We're supposed to do this exercise without their glasses on.
We did all do that in unison.
Together.
The planned segment here, just by the way, we're not talking Braves like we were going to. We may later, we may not. The plan
They suck. Nobody wants to hear about them.
The planned title was WTF Braves. That's all I put. Yeah, terrible team, but you take 2 of 3 from the best team in baseball. Okay, make it make sense. South Carolina traditions, Diesel, back to it. Where were we?
Okay, so we were remembering we were rating Clemson and South Carolina football traditions based on the criteria objectively cool, not as cool as the Homer fans think it is, and lame AF. We're asking you to do something that's real hard to do, to be objective here.
Yep.
That's all we're asking is to be objective. Tell me the truth, what you really think about these traditions. Do you want to read them or should I?
You go ahead.
Okay, so here we go. This is the exact same thing Clemson does. Gamecock walk. Stupid. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Everybody does it. It's not cool if everybody does it, right?
I like it. Again, I don't have a problem with any Gamecock walk, Tiger walk, Hoosier walk, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
It is. I don't have a problem.
Insert
with
school here walk.
I would assume I don't know how many do them. I would assume most, though, do have a walk. Maybe Montana and North Dakota State don't, right?
No, they roll in on giant snowballs. Yeah. Yeah, they all ball up and they wrap them in snow and they
That's
roll.
What they call it. Frosty walk.
No, they skate in. They skate into the stadium. Okay, so Gamecock walk, I think it's stupid. Cole thinks it's not as cool as everybody thinks it is, but it is what it is. Okay, so moving into the stadium for game day, South Carolina, 2001, A Space Odyssey.
One of the best in the country.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's amazing.
I'm a Clemson fan, right?
It's objectively amazing.
I mean, I'm a Clemson fan, and I'll tell you, it is the 2001. Without that song, or that theme song, it wouldn't be the same. So I have no issue with it.
So how about at the tail end of 2001, when Cocky is in the box, the elevated box, and then the shutters come down and Cocky's in there losing his mind? Cocky in the box. Is that cool or not?
No, they did change it. What was it, last year?
Is that what they replaced with the train that comes out on the field? It's not really a train.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that either.
Cocky in the box was way cooler. I know. I know. This sounds like a Saturday Night Live.
It does.
A blank in a box.
It sounds weird, and I don't love it. Again, I don't hate it, but here's the thing. This should be a rule. If you come out to 2001, it better be the best, grandest Star Wars type, soldier. It better be a freaking amazing entrance. And I just don't know that the chicken in the box does it for me.
Okay. So you say not as cool as Gamecock fans think it is.
Absolutely. On the Cocky in the box, I do.
Okay. How about Sandstorm with the light show? Because I separate that. That's something different than 2001.
It is. I hate to admit it, but I love it.
Sandstorm is amazing.
How do you not?
What you guys have there with all the in unison, the white terrible towels, that's so damn cool.
I can say objectively that when you experience it in the first half before everybody leaves at halftime, sorry, I had to get a shot.
For the first 10 minutes of the game, that stadium is lit.
When you experience it, it is fantastic, especially when it's packed out to the gills, like I said. And I don't know if you've ever sat in the upper deck at Williams-Brice before or not, but you can literally feel the upper deck move. I don't know that that's a good thing, but ask any Gamecock fan who sat upper deck, I promise you they will tell you that upper deck moves, and it gets wild.
Okay, so when I asked Chris Phillips, because I needed a little help with South Carolina Gamecock traditions, he talked to me about Coach Joe Morrison's famous quote, "If it ain't swaying, we ain't playing."
That's right.
I think that's awesome.
Yep.
I think that's all. It's a great way to make it seem like your stadium's not rickety. It's like it's on purpose, right?
Yeah,
it's supposed to be this way.
These screws and bolts are supposed to be coming out right now.
How come we can walk under the stadium and find a big pile of nuts and bolts?
That light fixture in the parking lot, yeah, that's supposed to be there. I mean, come on.
That saying is cool. It's like who sang the song? Don't bother knocking.
Yeah, I know
if the party's rocking, don't bother knocking.
Right.
Well, come on in. It was the blues guitarist. Anyway, I'll think of it in a second. Okay, how about the Cockaboose Railroad outside? Stevie Ray Vaughan, by the way. Cockaboose Railroad outside of the stadium.
You know, I've only been in it one time. A friend of mine had a tailgate there. It's overrated.
I think it's lame.
It is very lame.
I think Cockaboose is lame because not that many people can go in.
Isn't supposed to be in a small box.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you rent the Cockaboose or is it people who like buy them?
Well, you can rent them for the season and by rent. I'd use the word lease. Mortgage. Yeah. I mean, it's they're not cheap. Again, I've only been in them once. But again, tailgating to me, growing up a Clemson fan, I like Clemson tailgating. I don't like sitting in a box.
Compare that though to tailgating in a parking lot at the fairgrounds across the road.
Done that many times.
That's not good. The tailgating scene, not the amount of people, the food, the beverage, the drinking. I'm not talking about that stuff, but the landscape for tailgating at South Carolina sucks.
0 out of 10.
Sucks.
I've always said that, and I will stand by it. You're right. It does suck.
So in that sense, renting a Cockaboose is cool compared to
to
all the other tailgating going on at South Carolina. So, but I do think it's lame. I think it's lame to spend that kind of money just to show off that I've got the money to rent this box, to rent this porta-john next to the stadium to tailgate in. Okay, and finally, Cole.
By the way, $5,000 for 12 hours.
Wow. Wow. Okay, and how about the saying "forever to thee"? Forever to thee, cool or lame?
I'll say cool. I'll be
objectively cool.
Yeah, I'll be objective. I have no issue with that.
Okay.
Forever to thee. I like it.
I don't think it's as cool as Gamecock fans make it out to be. I mean, it is a mantra. It is a motto to live by, except when, they do dumb things that screw you over. And it's okay to back off every now and again and say, you know what? I don't like where this is going. I'm going to back away. And then, once they get it right, I'm coming back.
You know what's funny at South Carolina? It's like every coach in the past few years has added their own tradition. Like with Muschamp, it was Coach Boom. Every time on Twitter they landed a recruit, boom.
Sure.
All caps, boom. Now it's welcome home. I don't mind those things, but man, they just kind of get old every time you see it on Twitter. So welcome home.
Did we miss anything? I think we covered most of Clemson and South Carolina's game day traditions. Did we miss anything?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, like almost every school does an alma mater thing. So like, I'm not impressed by it's like the Tiger Walk or the Gamecock Walk. Every school does it.
Yeah.
It's not cool when every school does it. So it's not unique. Did we miss anything though?
I don't think so.
Okay.
993 says, woohoo during the Tiger rag is lame coming from a Tiger.
Yep.
Another text, the white towels look like dead chicken feathers. Funny texter, but terrible. That's not objective.
No, when you look at that from like up high.
Oh yeah.
It looks
drone
amazing.
Shot.
It looks so cool. And that the light show that they've installed over the past 2 seasons or so?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Again, I'm not a South Carolina fan, but it's a great atmosphere when, there are people in the stadium.
There you go. When we come back, Cole.
I'm nervous, by the way.
This is something that we teased we were going to do last week. A WNBA mascot challenge.
Oh, God. I'm so nervous.
Yeah. We're going to see who knows WNBA mascots better, Cole or myself. And the loser will have to take a punishment. That's coming up next on the Fan Upstate. We have not been secret about the fact, Cole, on this show that we genuinely don't care about the WNBA. We're interested in the Caitlin Clark got fouled really hard stories. That's fun. That's objectively interesting to us. But honestly, breaking down game film of a regular season WNBA game,
I thought we were gonna break it down, man.
No, we're not. We're not going to do that. But what we are going to do, Cole, is we're going to find out which one of us knows more about WNBA mascots. We're going to do the WNBA mascot challenge here in this segment. Here's how this is going to work. I had my wife write down the cities and the mascots of all the WNBA franchises.
All three.
I was shocked. Color me shocked to find out today that there are only 12 WNBA franchises.
I'll be honest, I had no clue.
What? I thought there were like 20 of them.
I was going to guess
24.
Like 22, 24.
Yeah, there's only 12. How can you not be profitable with a 12-team league? What does that cost you? Like $100 a year to run?
Yeah. I didn't know it was only 12.
It's crazy.
But now I do.
So my wife randomized all of the WNBA franchises on these two pieces of paper.
I'm nervous.
And I have not seen, so I don't know all of these either. So the question is, who is going to get more mascots right? And then if there's a tiebreaker, we have a method to break the tie. But here's the thing. The loser of this challenge, Cole, is going to have to do the 5 o'clock fight in my luchador wrestling mask.
Looks like Rey Mysterio.
I don't know if either of our heads are going to fit in this thing.
I would guess mine will not as big as my head is.
So yeah, the 5 o'clock fight, one of us is going to have to wear this to do the 5 o'clock. It looks like a Power Ranger mask.
It might be the last time it's worn if I wear it, because it might rip down the back of the seam.
Stitching doesn't look very strong here. Okay, this looks like Tijuana stitching here.
This might be the end of the old Matador.
So here's the deal. I've got a very official 50-cent piece.
Okay.
That is going to be our coin toss. It really doesn't matter which one we get. But
are you going to give like rules about like don't talk back, make sure if you're the team captain, you're representing the team here. I thought we'd get an official.
It feels wrong.
Umpire.
It feels wrong to call heads though with John F. Kennedy's head on the coin. Anyway, okay, so here we go. We're going to flip the coin. Call it.
The coin has been flipped. I'm calling heads.
It is tails.
That means tails never fails.
That means I get to choose. I'm going to choose this one right here, which means you're quizzing me on that. What's on that page right there? I'm going to quiz you on what's on this page right here.
Okay. Do I need to flip this over?
You can open it up now. Just don't let me see what's written on the written on the card.
So I can see everything that's on the inside.
You can see everything that's on the inside. So what you're going to do is you're going to ask me you're going to give me the city name, and I'm going to try to guess the mascot of the team. And I'm going to have like 5, 6, 10 seconds tops to be able to get this. If I get it right, I get a what sound effect?
If you get it right, you get a.
If I get it wrong, I get a. Okay, they're very good. Very good. Is everybody?
Since when did Spartanburg get a WNBA thing?
Is everybody? Are they the Spartan Burgers? Okay. All right. Hit me with city number one. Team
all right.
Number one.
I've got 6. I'm going to start at the top. The first city for Diesel in the WNBA name challenge. Las Vegas.
Oh, that's easy. It's the Aces.
You got the easy one. Reflip
the Aces. Yes.
You got the easy paper.
All right.
All right. So you're 1-0.
Okay.
Again, there's 6 total.
Yep.
Are we doing all 6 of them together?
Yeah, let's just do all 6 of them together.
All right. The next one for Diesel is the New York.
The New York. New York mystery. Okay. I don't have a clue what the New York WNBA team is.
I can say it now?
Yeah, you can say it now.
It is the New York Liberty.
Oh, man.
For the
I should have known that. Dang it, I should have known that one.
After you do say it, you're like, oh, that makes sense, right?
Yeah. Like, we've heard these all before, but they don't stick because, well, we don't care.
All right, you're 1-1.
Okay.
Let me write this down.
Yep.
I got my pen.
Give me a check or an X.
Check and an X.
Okay.
The next one.
Remember, the loser, whoever gets less of these right, has to rock the luchador wrestling mask for our 5 o'clock fight.
All right, Diesel's 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
Team number 3 out of 6. The Minnesota
Lynx. Yes.
How'd you know that?
Just, I don't know.
Wow. I'm impressed.
I don't know. Cropped up the old grade matter there.
Did you cheat on this?
No, I didn't. My wife
impressed.
did these. My wife did these.
I'm very impressed. Well, I can tell by the handwriting.
Yeah. she's like, I write. I say, Ashley, don't put it in cursive. Cole's not going to be able to read it. I write how I write. It is what it is.
So you're now 2-1. You're now 2-1. You got the Minnesota Lynx
challenge.
All right, so you got the Minnesota Lynx and Las Vegas Aces.
2 out of 3.
You did not get New York Liberty.
Nope.
The next one. I think this one's tough, but I don't want to jinx it here.
Mm-hmm.
The Phoenix.
Oh, okay. I know that they have like a sun, heat, like desert theme going on. The Phoenix Mercury.
God! Yeah. This is not fair. You're getting them right. All right, that puts you at 3-1.
3-1.
Phoenix Mercury. That one, you're right on the whole sun, desert.
Yeah.
All right. The 4th. Excuse me, the 5th.
Okay.
5 out of 6 here. WNBA name challenge for Diesel. The Washington.
They're not the Senators. I don't think it's anything political related. Washington. Title IXs?
How did you know?
Oh, God, Washington. I don't know this one.
So, I don't know.
No.
You're close on mystery, but this one's tough. It's the Washington Mystics.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
What is
similar?
Is that Mystic?
It's similar to the Washington Wizards, right?
Okay. Makes sense with the Wizards. Yeah. Mystic. Okay. I'm with you now.
Mystery? Was that right? The mysteries you said?
Mystics.
Mystics. See,
I like Mystics. Now that I hear it, I like Mystics.
Okay. See, I knew there was a Mystics, but I was thinking that was like in Orlando or something and have something to do with Disney.
You're 3-2.
3-2.
It all comes down to this.
Okay.
Drum roll, please, audience. Right here. Down I-85, the Atlanta.
Oh, no. Closest one. The Atlanta. I started off so strong.
You started off.
Oh my God, the Atlanta. I don't know. Crap. No, I don't know.
I do not know is not the correct answer.
The Atlanta.
Give me your best guess.
No, it's not the Ravens. It's not a bird. Is it a bird? Is it an animal?
No.
I don't know. I don't know. I should know this. It's 2 hours away. The Atlanta. Oh, no.
You want one shot at it?
Give me the first letter.
If I give you the first letter, I think
this doesn't count. It doesn't count.
Okay.
Doesn't count.
D is in dog.
D is in the Atlanta Disco Biscuits. No. The Dream? Oh.
The Atlanta Dream, but unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers, you didn't get it.
There's no way I would have gotten that.
So you went 3-3.
3-3.
Which isn't bad. You went 500. You're about like the Atlanta Braves right now. Okay. You started strong at 3-1.
I thought I was going to get like 5, and I was going to paint you into a corner.
I thought so too, man.
So the loser, remember, Cole's got to beat 3. If we have a tiebreaker, if he also gets 3. But the loser of this has to rock this luchador mask. He's got to get 4 to avoid wearing the mask.
That was tough.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie.
Being that you have the controls of the sound effects and all that, I'm still going to have to have you do that.
Okay.
But okay. Are you ready to do this challenge?
No, I'm not. Okay. I have zero faith. I get 6 as well?
Pen.
Here you go.
I need a pen.
And there's 6 on yours, right?
There's 6 on here as well.
I do not know if I'll be able to get 1. I'm serious.
Oh, this one, you got to get this one. This one. Okay. You ready to go? All right. The challenge, 12 WNBA mascots. I got 3 out of 6 right. Cole's got the other 6. The loser has to rock the luchador wrestling mask for the 5 o'clock fight.
I don't like having the pressure. I don't like the pressure.
Okay.
All right.
Round number 1. Indiana.
I'm going to think before I say it because I know it, but I want to make sure I just don't hit the putt quickly.
Okay.
It is the Indiana Fever.
Bingo.
Okay.
There you go.
So I did get one.
That's the easy one. I mean, God, we've been talking about Caitlin Clark nonstop for the last 3 months.
But you know what, though? I'm so nervous I would have got it wrong. I would have said something wrong.
Okay. You're doing well. Okay. 1 for 1. 1 for 1. Okay. Next up, Chicago.
Sky.
Wow. Man, I'm feeling rough. Feeling rough about this. Okay. Number 3, Seattle.
Oh, God. Seattle.
Cue the music.
Oh, God. Seattle.
Guys, Tolos, don't help.
Don't help.
Don't help.
I'm not looking at anything. I'm looking down.
Don't play at home.
I'm looking straight down.
Yeah. Seattle.
Oh, God.
5, 4.
Suns.
The Seattle.
Crap.
What is Seattle known for?
Rain.
Where does rain come from?
Cloud. Sky.
Storms. They're the Seattle Storm.
God.
They are the Seattle Storm.
I did not know that. I'm mad at myself. Storm.
Okay.
God. So what am I now? 2 and 1?
You're 2 and 1. You've got to get 4.
I've got to. What happened? Oh,
you've got to get 4 to make me lose
so
to win this game.
Left,
so you
right?
got to get You got to get
God.
2 out of the last 3 correct. If you get 1 out of the last 3 correct, we go to a tiebreaker. Okay. Next up, Dallas.
Wings.
Wow, the Dallas Wings. How did you know Dallas Wings? Just because you live Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're tied right now.
We're tied at 3, and you got 2 more to go.
I've got to get 1.
Dang, I think you're gonna get it.
You think?
I think you're gonna get it.
Oh God, I'm nervous.
Okay. Connecticut.
Give
me music.
Connecticut.
Now, this mascot has nothing to do with the state of Connecticut.
I am 90% sure there is a team named what I said earlier in this WNBA. Connecticut. I'm going to go Suns again. I got it?
You got it. It's the Connecticut Suns.
I knew there was a
but
sun.
They're not the Suns.
Okay, but I knew
I'm going to give you that one.
God.
Dang it.
So, why is Connecticut the Sun?
Nothing. It has nothing to do with the state of Connecticut. Okay, finally, Los Angeles.
Los Angeles Aces.
That's Las Vegas.
God! What I say?
They're the Sparks. They're the LA
I got
Sparks.
cocky.
But you got 4 out of 5, 4 out of 6, which means you win.
I know, but I wanted that last one.
This.
So say it again. Los Angeles Sparks.
Yeah.
And I said Aces. Crap.
That's Las Vegas. Yeah.
Crap.
See, I didn't think there was any chance you were going to get Connecticut Sun. I wouldn't have got Connecticut Sun.
All right. Do you think our memory is good enough that if we swap papers, we could get all 6 of them or no? You think we could?
No,
just for fun?
I don't.
Let's try.
All right.
Just swap.
Just for fun. Funsies here.
Just for fun.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas Aces.
New York.
God, you already lost.
He's already lost.
Did I do this
Liberty?
One? Liberty.
Yeah.
Ah!
Minnesota.
Lynx.
Phoenix.
Mercury.
Washington.
I almost said Huskies.
Mystics. And then the Atlanta
Dream.
There you go.
All right. The ones that I did: Indiana,
Fever,
Chicago,
Sky.
I like that. Chicago Sky. Seattle,
Storm,
Dallas,
Wings,
Los Angeles,
Sparks,
Connecticut,
Sun.
God, you should have had this
God
paper.
Bless it. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have known those. I wouldn't have known those. And if you guys want to know what the tiebreaker question was, it's not going to matter because I've already lost this challenge.
I don't know what the tiebreaker was.
3 different teams, Cole. 3 different teams have won have tied for the most number of championships in the WNBA. 3 different teams have tied for that number. Give me the number of championships.
Oh, God.
For which they are tied. Because I was like, there's no way he's going to get.
We just sat here till
There's
midnight.
no way you're going to get the teams. But take a guess. 3 different teams have tied for the most number of WNBA titles. What's the number?
What's the number of titles?
What's the number of titles?
I'll guess 5.
The answer is 4.
Oh,
the answer is 4. And we were going to do that Price is Right rules.
Ooh.
So closest to get it without going over.
So did one of them was like New York's pretty good, right? I think they're good.
Are they? Well, they don't have. They're not tied. It's
really?
It's the Comets. Who are the Comets? Are they
Comets?
Comets.
Comets.
The Lynx and the Storm.
We didn't even say Comets.
Is there? Did the Comets change their name?
Did we forget one?
Houston. Houston Comets. They don't exist anymore.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah,
to
they don't
Houston
exist
Comets?
anymore.
Did they run out of money? The Houston Comets don't exist?
Yeah, they don't exist anymore.
No way. So there used to be 13.
I guess, or they moved.
Oh, you think they moved to
Or they
Dallas?
moved to another city.
Wow, that's tough. The Comets. Tiger Pal Rachel, by the way.
The only thing, the crazy thing, they won the first 4 WNBA championships.
They said, we got our championship. We're done.
We're done.
Tiger Pal Rachel says, I think Atlanta should be the Disco Biscuits.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that a real mascot of a...
It sounds like a minor league baseball team.
It sounds good. I like it.
Not too late to change the name of the Spartanburg team.
Speaking of that, I'm glad you said that. 903 says, all these names are better than the Spartanburgers. Texter, you're wrong for that.
Crap.
But
I thought I had you, dude.
That's good.
I thought I had you.
That's good. All right. David Newton, Carolina Panthers reporter for ESPN, joins us next. We appreciate the feedback in the WNBA mascot challenge, as it was bad but funny, right? As long as it's funny.
I thought I had you.
That's all that matters.
God,
all
so
right.
mad at myself.
Speaking of all that matters, the Carolina Panthers is all you care about. I don't know. We have a lot of people right here in the upstate who are fans of other teams, but we bring on David Newton of ESPN to talk a little Carolina Panthers. David, hope you're well, man. It's been a little quiet on the Panthers front, but maybe not necessarily a bad thing when David Tepper's your owner, right?
That's exactly true. I've stayed as far away from it as possible for the last 3 weeks to kind of get a break and re-energize myself for the season.
David, how is it that so many of you Panthers beat writers all ended up at the exact same Atlanta Braves game? And when you're answering that question, I also want you to answer this. What's the tougher beat, covering the Panthers in 2023 or the Braves in 2024?
Oh, wow. I'm going to go with Panthers over probably. I mean, that was pretty tough. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting because Joe Person and Mike Kay are both Philly fans, and we were talking during the mini camp or mandatory camp and during the off-season workouts, and they were like, we got to get to Atlanta to watch a game against the Phillies. And I'm like, well, then my son had planned this weekend for us to go up there and watch the Braves, and it turned out to be against the Phillies. Next thing you know, we're all three there. It wasn't planned to be together at the same time, but I was in Braves gear. They were in Phillies gear. So it all worked out well for me because the two games we were there together, Braves won both of them. So, yeah, it was just one of those strange things that happen.
Well, you led me to it. I was going to say, David, I don't know how much it'll cost, but I would love for you to continue to go to those Braves games as we need you there. But, David, it's fascinating, the 2024 Carolina Panthers. We had a guest on a few months ago, and, the perception is reality in a lot of cases, but tripling your amount of wins from 2023, it sounds great. But to David Newton's opinion, is it possible for the Panthers in 2024?
To triple their wins from 2 to 6?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah, I can see it happening. I won't say easily, but I mean, it's still. I think the roster is much better than it was a year ago. I think Bryce Young's going to bounce back and play much better this season. I think the defense is going to be strong, but again, they've got a long ways to go. It's not going to be like an overnight thing. I mean, Dan Morgan was a part of the 2001 team that went 1-15, and then came back in 2002, and they won 7 games. So they actually more than tripled their wins. And then in 2003, they were in the Super Bowl. So it's got to be a stepping stone to get to where they want to be. And I think they'll show a lot of improvement, but can they, win more than 6 or 7 games? That's going to be tough. You look at that schedule; it's not going to be easy. The teams they're playing are also many of them are better too. So, I think the product on the field is going to be better. Probably more fun for fans to watch. I think Bryce will probably earn back some of what he got in college and be more of that type player. But again, it's a long ways to go before they get to where this is a playoff team.
Find him on Twitter at DNewtonESPN. David Newton joins us here on Wire to Wire. David, you wrote a piece about the Panthers secondary coach, Jonathan Cooley, and head coach Dave Canales building their relationship through early morning yoga sessions. I want you to look as macro or as micro as you want, but what relationships between Panthers players on the field have to get right for the team to find more success this year?
Well, I mean, I think the relationship between Bryce Young and his offensive line has got to get solid. I mean, I don't know how Bryce would never say he didn't trust the guys in front of him last year. But there's no way he could have trusted those guys. But I mean, 62 sacks. I mean, 35 of them came right up the middle. So, I mean, you got to rebuild that and have that relationship and make that work. And I think the relationship between Bryce and his wide receivers has got to be stronger. I mean, other than Thielen last year, it didn't seem like he had a relationship with any of the other receivers out there. So I sorry about that little moment from ESPN bouncing in my phone. I should have turned that off. But and so anyway, it was I think that they've got to get all that straightened out. I mean, right now, I think Deontay Johnson and Thielen are going to be there, and I think Xavier Legette's going to be a solid player for him too. So I think the wide receiver group is already better than it was a year ago. But again, they've got to get that chemistry and show it in games and get everything working, everybody on the same page, something they never really were last year.
David, that's a fascinating answer. I want to play off of that. In your opinion, how much do those relationships, let's just take it, for example, with Bryce and the offensive line, do those relationships matter more than people think when it comes to the actual success, or is it just about the Jimmies and Joes, in your opinion?
I think it matters, and at the core of, I wrote about this too, at the core of Dave Canales' whole philosophy out there is based on, relationships and finding what levels of trust and levels of self-awareness. He uses self-awareness a lot, and I found that fascinating. But when you look at it, I mean, and the way he explained it, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, he talked about Bryce before Bryce was even drafted, and he was at Tampa Bay in a pre-draft meeting, and he brought Bryce in. And he said, "Hey, there was something I saw you fixed during your last year at Alabama," and he didn't tell him what it was. He just said, "I saw something," and then Bryce went through this whole probably 3 or 4 or 5 minute explanation of what he fixed, and then Canales turned around and showed him his notes and said, "That's exactly what I said." And his evaluation. So knowing that Bryce had that self-awareness to know that he needed to fix that to be the type player he needed to be, and knowing Canales could see that, it all kind of works hand in hand. So yeah, I think there's something to all of that, and how teams with great relationships. You look at the teams the Panthers have had that have gone to the Super Bowl or made the playoffs. You could tell in the locker room there was just strong relationships among players and teammates that kind of was well beyond what you'd seen before.
He covers the Panthers for ESPN NFL Nation. David Newton joins us here on the Fan Upstate. As you've studied some of the reported plans for this new $650 million renovation, what elements do you think the most number of fans will be able to get their hands on? And what elements kind of seem a little more geared to upper management, kind of like a vanity project?
No, the stadium needed an upgrade. I mean, I've been around way too long. I saw it in the very beginning in '96, its first season. And it was state of the art then, but it's not state of the art now. They've done the best they can to kind of keep it up to date, but it needs an upgrade. I think a lot of the bells and whistles that you see at some of the new stadiums that fans seem to enjoy. I can't tell you what they all are because I don't roam the halls of their corridors of the stadium where the fans hang out, but you can tell. And I did a tour of it before I took a break, and you could tell that it just didn't have the vibe that a lot of these new stadiums have. So I think they'll see more lights and bells and whistles and more fun things to do and things like that in there, and just some bare necessity things they'll need as well. So I think it was probably even overdue that they had to go through this upgrade. The big issue, I guess, was who was going to pay for it. And, the city has agreed to at least help pay for a portion of it. So that's been the biggest hang up. And I think that David Tepper had lost a lot of, I guess, trust. When we talk about relationship, trust in the community, with what happened with the Rock Hill situation and the practice facility there, then what happened, with the first practice facility they were going to have in the headquarters for a soccer team. So there's some trust and rebuilding being done at that point or that level too.
It's a great answer, David. I like that a lot. I want to ask you this: when you look at the 2024 schedule, you know how fans are, man. Like, even as low as the Panthers have been over the last few years, as well as I do, it really only will take one win over somebody that you're not supposed to beat to just kind of give this fan base a sense of hope, right? So I ask you, if you were in the first 8 weeks to look at the schedule and find a game that really could surprise Panthers fans, whether it be the Saints, Chargers, Raiders, Bengals, Commanders maybe, or the Broncos, what's a game in your opinion that you think could rally this fan base pretty well?
Well, I have to think about that one for a second. I haven't really been looking at the schedule lately, but I do think that they, it's going to be tough to get off to a good start with what 3 of their first 5 games are on the road, I believe.
That's right.
To me, the one that probably would maybe get people a little confident that they could turn things around might be the Bengals game. What's that? Week 4 or 5,
Yep.
somewhere there. And
September 29th.
Yeah, if they could win that one, it's a home game, so you got to win your home games. That's important. And to beat a team that a few years ago was in the Super Bowl, I think that would put a little bit of energy into the team. But again, they've probably the best way to do is go out and beat the Saints on opening day and get some energy off of that. Because if you lose that game, and then the Chargers should be a decent team in week 2, and then you lose that one, and then you got to go to the Raiders, which it's always tough to win on the road there, and then back against the Bengals. I mean, it's not going to be easy. But also, I think the Bears game actually is going to be kind of key too, because there's going to be a lot of talk about should they have made that trade with the Bears to get Bryce Young and traded away DJ Moore, and seeing what the Bears have done with their new quarterback they got with the Panthers pick. I think that's one they could really win some at least energy for the fans if they can win that one.
David, true or not, fans love to compare David Tepper to the evil owner of the Cleveland Indians in the movie Major League, who wanted to move the team. But in the description of the renovation plan, the words ties the Panthers to Carolina for another X number of years are thrown around a lot. Do you think there was ever any risk at all for this franchise to leave the city of Charlotte if the renovation plan didn't go through?
I never felt that it was a big risk. I do feel like that the fact that they were able to lock down, I think 15 years are pretty much guaranteed now with the money the city's given. And if Tepper wants to back out after 15 years, then he's got to pay the balance, for that last year. So I just never felt like he was threatening to move them away. But again, with everything that's gone on with this ownership, in the last 5 or 6 seasons, you always got to have that in the back of your mind. I was here when George Shinn moved the Hornets away, and you probably thought that never was going to happen either. So it just, those things happen from time to time. But again, I don't feel like Tepper was seriously out there looking at him. First of all, where is he going to move him? I mean, he's from Pittsburgh and that area, so he's not going to put something close to where he grew up because they already got two teams in that state. So I just don't know where it would have made sense to move the team if he was going to do that, unless he would have moved them, overseas or somewhere. So I just didn't see that as a threat. But I think it was good for the city to lock them down for at least the next 15 years.
David, we're right here in Gamecock country. What kind of update can you give us on Xavier Legette?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we didn't really get to see him during off-season workouts much because of the hamstring injury. So he's got to looking to see what he can do when he gets in there, and he's healthy and ready for training camp, which he's supposed to be. I look forward to. I talked to him a lot about his horseback riding. He grew up down in the Mullins area of South Carolina, and he rode horses a lot. And I kind of was enthralled with that. I grew up on horses as well, so we talked a good bit a while ago about how his experience on horses has helped him as a football player. I know that's probably a stretch for you guys to think about, but I found it very intriguing. He's a really interesting guy. People love the way he talks, for sure. Love his accent. So I think he's definitely going to be an upgrade. I think he's going to be a starter opposite Deontay Johnson, with Thielen kind of mixing in around, the inside guy. So I really like the potential he's got there. And I know Canales fell in love with him the first time he met him.
Dave, FanFest is coming to Clemson here in just a couple of weeks. I was shocked when I heard that they were bringing it back down here. Do you ever foresee training camp returning to the upstate, or is that simply not a priority for Panthers management?
I don't think that's a priority at all. If it was, they never would have left. I mean, Wofford was a good home for them for the duration of this team. I mean, so I don't know. It just wasn't in David Tepper's plans. He wanted to keep it here. Most teams stay at home now, and they have these new sparkling new practice facilities, which David Tepper is building there. It's going to be interesting to see if they have it ready in time for, I'm sure it will be, but be ready enough to really hold fans and do everything they want this year, because it was way, way far behind when I saw, 3 weeks ago. I won't say behind, but it didn't like it was going to be anywhere close to being ready. So, yeah, I'm going to kind of miss going to Wofford and Spartanburg for training camp. And I thought it was a good thing, but I don't think David Tepper is ever going to look back on that one.
Well, David, you do a tremendous job. Our listeners here in the upstate of South Carolina absolutely love it when you're on. We appreciate you taking time to join us, man.
I appreciate it, and I look forward to being up in Clemson in a few weeks and, maybe sneaking down and what's a little place over in Pendleton? A good place to
Smoking Pig?
Yeah, either that or I'll go to the Esso Club and have
There you go. There. That's a good plan, man.
Thanks,
to you
David.
soon, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys.
David Newton of ESPN NFL does a tremendous job, really does. We appreciate the comments. Trey says, I love when David's on. Texter from the 345 says, David's really good when he's on. He does a tremendous job.
He is an excellent follow at D Newton ESPN. He is certainly a fantastic follow. When we come back, Cole, we are getting very, very close. We're less than a month away from one of the biggest sporting events of the summer that I know I'm excited about, that I know that you're excited about. But the question is, which one of these events, sports, if you will, needs a little more airtime so it can take off? That's coming up next right here on the Fan Upstate. It started as a goof from a movie, a joke, and it turned into now a multi-year thing that ESPN does every single August. They call it ESPN 8 The Ocho. Do you watch ESPN 8 The Ocho when it comes on every year?
You might be upset with me when I tell you this.
Don't tell me
but
this.
I've never heard
You never watched it?
Never.
You never watched it?
When
okay.
I saw it on the rundown, I said, oh, we're talking
What is
Chad
that?
Ocho Cinco.
No. So where this came from, Cole, is there was a character in the movie Dodgeball. Ben Stiller, a huge cast of a movie where Stephen Root's character Gordon talks about his love of obscure sports. And in the movie, they have to make a lot of money to save their gym. So they enter a dodgeball tournament.
Correct.
And this tournament is aired on ESPN 8, The Ocho, which didn't exist, right? I mean, it was at that time there was ESPN, ESPN 2, ESPN 3. There was ESPN News, ESPN Classic.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, now with streaming, you can put anything, you can put a million different ESPN broadcasts on if you wanted to. But ESPN has actually dived into this once a year. They make it a special event. They rebrand everything on the station ESPN 2 to ESPN 8, The Ocho. And they dedicate an entire day, Cole, to obscure sports. And it's absolutely fascinating. It's really, really great.
I feel dumb for not knowing this.
Yeah.
I'm dumb.
I don't
knows that
ever
already.
remember ESPN airing cornhole tournaments before the Ocho.
Maybe
And they
not.
started putting it on the Ocho, and then they realized, oh, there's some money here. So it has happened before. What I'm suggesting has happened before. They have taken an obscure sport like cornhole, and they've made it bigger. And now it's a legitimate sport. There's sponsorships and everything involved. I mean, you see celebrities getting in on cornhole. It's gone from a backyard game to a legitimate. Rob Brown, don't come after me for this. It's turned into a legitimate sport. No, there's no defense in cornhole. Not like somebody's trying to block your shot, but you can try to block their bag from going in. So
block the bag.
I think that does count as defense. So you know what? Screw you, Rob Brown. I'm going to say it live on the air.
Not to get on a tangent here, but the other day I somehow clicked onto a live broadcast on X on Twitter of cornhole, and I think I watched for 8 minutes.
You loved it.
Really? I watched for a long time.
By the way, I don't know if you knew this. I don't know if the Tolos knew this, which means turn it on and leave it on.
Mm-hmm.
The ESPN 8 games, most of them are filmed right here in South Carolina in Rock Hill.
No way.
Yeah.
No.
Rock Hill, the Ocho. This is a legitimate press release. 2024, the Ocho will return to Rock Hill for the third straight year.
Wow.
So they don't do all of the events from Rock Hill, but I guess they probably, I don't know, have a huge event space.
I say it's brand new. It's a new event space.
There you go.
It's in Rock Hill, and they say it's just unbelievable.
And so they film and they air a lot of stuff right there from Rock Hill.
Gotcha.
This will be the third year that they've done it. So again, knowing that they've already turned one obscure sport, cornhole, into a legitimate sport that they air because people are fascinated with it and they watch it. I'm going to go through some of these sports, Cole, that are on the docket for the 2024 Ocho. And you tell me, do you have any interest in watching these sports? Okay. The mullet championships. It's exactly what it's not. We're not talking about the fish.
Yeah.
Mullets.
The long hair.
The long hair.
Absolutely not.
Hair competition. Like, have you ever seen like the mustache competitions where they'll shave like nativity scenes into mustache? Okay. You're not into the hairstyle championships. Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
For one there.
Yeah. They also do air guitar championships on the Ocho.
No,
not into that. Okay. How about this one? This one you might be legitimately into. How about tech ball? Tech ball is a fusion of soccer and table tennis. So here's their description. In essence, it features a specially curved table. The sport can be played either 1-on-1 or 2-on-2. It involves players rallying a soccer ball back and forth over a net using any part of their bodies but their hands and arms.
Ooh.
One of the sports, Ronaldo. Ronaldo is apparently a very skilled tech ball player. But think table tennis with your shoulders.
Yeah, I can watch that. I'm intrigued. I'm interested.
I want to see somebody clock their face on the table.
It sounds really challenging. God, you can't use any hands or arms. I mean, You got to kick it over the net, I guess.
Here's one. It's called the Excel World Championship. They're not excelling at physical activity.
Don't tell me it's the spreadsheet. Do not.
It is spreadsheet. It is spreadsheet competition. They do a knockout style bracket. It pits the best of the best on Microsoft Excel against each other, vying to be the quickest to complete a variety of Excel-related tasks.
There's no way what you're reading is real. There is no way.
I mean, if you tune in, you might be able to see it. By the way, they are coming up. Let's see. I had the date here. They're coming up on August 2nd. That's a Friday, August 2nd. ESPN 8, The Ocho, will be on.
An Excel World Championship?
Mm-hmm.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
That's punishment. That's what you get when you have to go to class and learn about. No way.
Okay, how about slippery stairs? Slippery stairs, they put 5 competitors in slicked bodysuits at the bottom of a lubricated set of stairs. It came from a Japanese game show.
I was going to say Home Alone.
Yeah. You try to make your way up the stairs. People fall. They slide down the hill. First one to get to the top and ring the bell is crowned the champion.
They throw.
No, this isn't Home Alone.
Watch out, Marv.
I am 1,000% into slippery stairs.
That's the best one. Yeah,
that's great. Slippery stairs sounds like so much fun. It sounds like a great way to break an arm.
I was going to say, it doesn't sound safe. I want to know what's on the steps, though. That's fascinating. Slippery stairs.
Let's see. They have other events like kickball. Would you watch kickball?
100%.
Yep.
I'm into that.
You're not into the air guitar. How about pillow fighting?
Women in bikinis?
Professional pillow fighting.
Who's doing? I mean,
if they want people to watch, that's how they do it. Right.
I'm not watching grown men.
No. Okay. So only if it's sexy women.
Correct.
How about breakdancing?
No, I'm good.
No. Axe throwing.
Yeah.
I want to know how accurate they can be from distance, right? I mean, you can do what we got, like bars around here have axe throwing. Sure. That's fun. That's cool and all, but give me distance, give me bigger and bigger axes. They've shown in the past table tennis. I mean, that's a pretty standard thing, right? I'll watch 5 minutes of table tennis. Omega Ball.
I've seen that.
Omega Ball is 3-team soccer.
Yeah.
Which I love to watch. I think it's far more entertaining than real soccer.
I'm for that.
How about marble racing? That one caught the world by storm a couple of years ago. The marble racing on the Ocho had people really into it.
I would rather watch cockroach racing.
People were gambling. I think this was during the COVID year. So this was during 2020. Marble racing. People were betting and live tweeting marble racing on ESPN 8. And then finally, Cole, this is the most disgusting one I saw ever on the Ocho. Cow patty throwing.
You ruined it for me.
And people had all their different strategies. Some would hold it like a discus.
God. They wear gloves?
No, I don't remember.
God.
Probably if it affected your throw, then probably not. Some of them held it like a discus. Some of them chucked it like a frisbee. And then still others held it like this.
No.
And they would throw it for distance.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Public service announcement. We need an axe throwing venue as a sponsor. Can you imagine how wildly entertaining live shows would be at an axe throwing bar? That'd be great.
What if we had an axe throwing bar where you could put up photos of Shane Beamer and Dabo Sweeney?
That'd be
the
fantastic.
opposite of your fan base.
Gamecock Tiger.
Yeah.
What are the chances? Again, I've got to hit a break. The music's playing.
They show wiffle ball too.
What about Cole? I can't say this without laughing. What about if we did the wire to wire live show, 4-hour show from an escape room? Do you think we could finish the escape room before the show is over?
While doing the show?
Yes.
No, I don't. I don't. The 5 o'clock fight's coming up next, and I got to wear this as punishment for losing the WNBA mascot challenge.
All right. Every single day, we love to fight, and it is time to get them up. We appreciate you toloing right here on Wire to Wire.
Before we get started with the 5 o'clock fight, I've got to pay off.
You got to pay off your debt.
I lost the challenge, the WNBA mascot challenge. I thought I had you. I
did too, to be honest with you.
You got 5 out of 6. I got 3 out of 6. When I had 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 or whatever it was, I thought, man, I got this. I got the last 2. I'm gonna get this. And then, then I didn't have it. So I've got to rock a bright red luchador wrestling mask.
Here we go.
Which, if you're watching on the stream, now would be a good time to get into the stream. Will this thing even fit on my head? This awesome looking luchador wrestling mask.
Rey Diesel Mysterio. Here we go.
Can I get it on my head?
Oh, this is great.
It
fits, man.
It's so tight.
If the glove fits, OJ likes your hat.
Oh my God. I can't even move my face.
The best part is we cannot hear you for you know what.
You can't hear?
Oh, we can hear you, but it's like,
what do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean you can't hear anything?
I can hear you, but it's great.
How do they do this? How do they wrestle in this?
Fantastic. Hold on, I got to take a picture. Oh, this is so good. Diesel lost the WNBA bet, so he is right. How tight is it on the scale of 1 to 10?
It's really tight. It's really tight. I can't feel my face.
I don't think
oh my God, my nose itches.
I don't think it would fit on my head.
My nose itches. Ugh.
That is fantastic.
I'm not picking my nose because my finger can't touch my nose.
If you're not watching on the stream right now, Diesel paying off his debt for losing the WNBA challenge.
I can't
You're
see.
missing.
So those of you not watching on the stream, there's like a mesh over my eyes. And of course, like my eyelashes are bumping up against it and I can't open my eyes all the way.
I'm taking a video.
I feel like this is one size too small.
Can you see anything?
Barely.
How many fingers am I holding up?
2.
Yes, you got it right.
Okay.
You got it right.
I got 2.
JD says, you look like the Red Power Ranger. Maybe that's a compliment.
Is that the good one?
Maybe. I'm not sure. So anyways, Diesel in the 5 o'clock fight, this segment may drag out to 6 because he has to wear the mask. So he keeps it on and we fight it out.
It's an all-out slugfest and nobody's leaving unscathed. 3 topics, 1 winner. It's the 5 o'clock fight on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
All right, in case this is your first time, maybe you hopped on X, formerly Twitter today, Facebook, YouTube, and you're thinking, man, this is a halfway decent show. I might stick around for this said 5 o'clock fight. Well, we appreciate you sticking around, number 1. And number 2, 5 o'clock fight rules explained now. So there's 3 rounds of the 5 o'clock fight. Diesel and I must disagree on all 3 rounds. And you, the Tolos, which stands for Turn It On, Leave It On, you decide who wins. Several ways for you to do so. Text the show 71307. Start your text with the word fan. Also, we're live on the stream. If you're watching, you see Diesel in his Rey Mysterio, Nacho Libre. What is it called?
Luchador.
I was close. Mask. So let's get it started.
Round 1, fight.
Diesel, round 1. This one was something you brought to the table, and I was going to let you read it, but I don't know if you can read it. So I'll read it because I don't know if you can. So I like this question. It's it's one of those thought-provoking questions, right? Round 1 of the 5 o'clock fight. Would you be willing to redistribute 20% of your salary for a few months if it meant you only had a 4-day work week? So you only work Monday through Thursday. You're still making the same amount of money over the year, but the 20% you're not getting for taking 1 day off per week would be redistributed to the rest of the year, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic question.
So you would only work 4 days a week instead of 5. And 1 day out of 5 is 20%. So 20% of your salary for that, whatever period of time it is, We're talking about a quarter, a summer, 3 months. That 20% of that salary just gets redistributed and paid out the rest of the year. You're not losing any money, but you're gaining a 4-day work week as opposed to a 5-day work week. And the answer is hell yeah, I would. Hell yeah.
Really?
Give me the 4-day work week over the summer. Please, having an extra day off every week. I mean, think about that, what that does for your sanity, for your enjoyment. You get more lake days in. You get to play more golf. Or you can just sit around on your ass in the air conditioning more than ever before.
Rob Brown says technically that's a Sin Cara.
Nobody cares, Rob.
Are we supposed to know who Sin Cara is?
Nobody cares. Stop making this.
Sin Cara.
Stop.
He's dragging out the 5 o'clock fight, so you have to wear the mask longer. So here's what I say to that. I don't want my salary redistributed in any way. I don't like the money being moved. I don't like change when it comes to my money. So, no, you know what? I'll stay with a 5-day work week, and I still want to make that money. No, I don't want to have my money redistributed. I feel like I'm poor the rest of the year. I don't want to do that.
You can go get a part-time job if you want to, or you just enjoy more time off.
I cannot conform to that. It's a fascinating question. I did think about it because I did want to have a well thought out answer, but no, I don't want any change. So what do you say on round one? Diesel says, yes, he would love to have that 4-day work week, even if his salary was redistributed to a different part of the year. It's time for
Round 2. Fight.
All right. Round 2. It's time to put them up. This one's a tough one. Last Friday, Diesel, Shane Connick, who comes on our station every Friday at 4:20 to talk NASCAR. He told you and I about next year's 2025 in-season bracket challenge that NASCAR is doing. It's fascinating to hear Shane talk about, but the question for round 2 is, will that in-season bracket challenge that Denny Hamlin, by the way, is already doing, will that help the sport of NASCAR grow?
No. No. You know what?
No hesitation there, Diesel.
If I learned anything from the janitor in the movie Rudy, if it ain't happened by now, it ain't gonna never happen. You can't try to get cute and add in-season tournaments and this is and that's. This is just gonna piss off the OG NASCAR fans even more. God, this mask is so uncomfortable. Like, they're going to look at this and say, what the hell are you doing now? Why are you changing it now? Stop messing with the format. It sucks.
You don't like the idea.
Sucks.
Huh?
No, it's not going to help it grow. I mean, it's so funny. They've tried all these things, tinkering and tinkering and tinkering. Why don't they just reverse tinker and say, you know what?
Reverse tinker. That's that phrase of the day. I like that.
All this tinkering they've done has gotten them nowhere.
Tinker, tinker no more, says Diesel. I love the in-season bracket challenge. I think that people will be attracted to the idea of it. I mean, the biggest sports, I don't want to say biggest sports event, but one of the biggest times in sports in this country is when we all sit around and act like we know what we're doing, and we make a bracket about basketball games, and your aunt and your uncle who haven't watched basketball in 33 years, they're making brackets because they want to feel like they're a part of what's going on. I'm not saying this in-season bracket challenge for NASCAR is going to save the sport by any means. However, I do think it'll help the sport grow. It's already fascinating watching the Denny Hamlin bracket challenge that he's doing right now. People, we talk about it all the time, Diesel. People will gamble on it. They'll do their own bracket. And I think it will be a good thing for the sport of NASCAR, if you consider it a sport. Keyword, no defense, right? As Matador shakes his head, no. If you're on the fence, there's good news. There's one more round.
Final round. Fight.
This one is, in my opinion, a little bit challenging of a question. Diesel, which conference will have a fired football coach first in the 2024 offseason? ACC or SEC? What I mean is, as soon as the season's over, right? So-and-so gets fired. Breaking news. The first coach that gets fired from each conference, in your opinion, or the first coach? Let me back up. My apologies. The first coach out of the ACC or the SEC, which conference will have a fired head coach first when the season is over?
I mean, I don't even think we're going to get to the end of the season before somebody gets fired at one of these schools. Now, it's hard to say with the ACC guys, some of the news guys coming in, like Justin Wilcox at Cal or Troy Taylor at Stanford or whatever his name is, the coach at SMU. I think it's Rhett Lashley. Is that who's there at SMU? Yeah. It's hard to say because I just don't know where those fan bases are with those individual coaches. But I think because the SEC is so fever pitched on getting it right, they are willing to move on from coaches early. I think it's going to be the SEC, and I think I know who it is. It's going to be Sam Pittman.
Pittman?
Yeah, Arkansas is going to want first dibs on hiring the next guy.
Oh, man, everybody loves Sam Pittman,
can't
though.
Yeah, but he's not winning, though. That's the thing about it, is he sucks as a coach.
You have to win?
Yeah, you believe it or not. If not if you're at Vanderbilt, but you do have to win if you're in the SEC. And he's gonna Arkansas is gonna want to get first dibs on the coaching prospects, which means they're gonna move on from Sam Pittman before anybody in the ACC pulls that trigger.
That is a very intriguing thought. A very intriguing thought about Sam Pittman. However, I think it's the ACC, and I think it's a guy we all know and a lot of people in the upstate love.
Dabo?
No, close.
Oh.
Close. Same staff. Tony Elliott, Virginia.
Oh.
The lease is very short, in my opinion. I think this is it for Tony Elliott. The Tony Elliott experiment at Virginia did not pan out. In fact, it's just gone opposite. It's gone sour. And I think Tony Elliott, and you might be right, it might not even take to the end of the season, but I think Tony Elliott is on his way out the door, and that's why I will say an ACC coach gets fired first in 2024.
He is certainly not bringing Virginia where they want to be, but he has had to face a ton of adversity at Virginia that a normal coach doesn't have to deal with. You know, they had 3 players murdered, which changes everything. I mean, it puts you so far back. Parents don't want to send their kids there. Of course, you're dealing with fans reeling from it and all the other things that come with something that tragic happening inside of a locker room. I think Tony Elliott's going to get the benefit of the doubt. I think he's going to stick around a little bit, not a ton, because, you know, ultimately you do have to win in this sport. But I think just because of that, he's going to get a little more of a leash.
If you're just tuning in and wondering why Diesel sounds like somebody's trying to, you know, cut his air off and has their hand over his mouth.
Because it's happening.
It's happening.
There's no mouth holes here.
I'm surprised you didn't cut one out.
I have 2 little nostril holes here, and I've got eye holes, but I got no mouth.
Well, listen, I can be certain of this. Seeing it on your head, the mask.
It looks tiny, doesn't it?
There's no way it would have fit on my head.
No?
My head, I have the biggest head in the world. I mean, I have a huge head. It wouldn't have fit. So that's the 5 o'clock fight, round 1, 2, 3. Let us know who wins. I'll recap. But first, I want to tell you how you can submit a fight.
What do you want Diesel and Bryson to fight about next?
If you've got an ass, I'll kick it.
Submit your topics to Diesel at thefanupstate.com. Subject line, fight on the Fan Upstate.
Quick recap. If you just tuned in, round 1, would you be willing to redistribute 20% of your salary for a few months if it only meant you had a 4-day work week? Diesel says yes. I say no. Round 2, will the 2025 in-season bracket challenge help the sport of NASCAR grow? Diesel says no. I say yes, it will. Final round, which conference will have a fired football coach first in the 2024 season or all season? Diesel says SEC, maybe Sam Pittman. I say ACC and your boy, Tony Elliott. Let us know, 71307. Go ahead and get those texting fingers a-going and text into the show. Start your text with the word fan and let us know who wins and loses. The main question, the real question, though, is Diesel going to be able to read any text or messages with the mask on?
Why am I squinting? First of all, I don't have my glasses.
Can you try the glasses on the mask?
Oh, that's better.
Oh, it's Senor Matador now.
Yes. See.
Dr. Matador. You look so smart now over there, Senor.
That's better. That's better.
It's a great, you look great with those glasses on. Let me just say it like that. A couple of texts. Bo says, no one cared who Diesel was until he put the mask on. I have bad news, Diesel. Maybe, I know it's not comfortable, but maybe this is your new character, the masked Diesel.
I'm just glad we didn't make this challenge wear it for the rest of the hour.
Yeah, it'd be bad.
Because it's really hot in here. It's getting really
He
hot.
sounds like he's crying. He sounds like Dan B on that Owner Suck hotline phone call. 491 says, round 1, Diesel. Round 2, Diesel. Round 3, Cole. So I got one, but you won the round there from the 491. Stream. Let's go to the stream. Let's see what the Tolo's on the stream. 173 people watching right now. JD says Diesel wins round 1. 4-day work week is beautiful. Try it. Well, unfortunately, if we try it, we might get canned, because our boss might not like us only working 4 days. JD says Diesel round 2. Nothing helps the sport grow, apparently. Madcraft says Diesel round 1, Cole round 2, Diesel round 3. I have yet to win a fight. 706 on the text line says sweep for Senor Diesel. What is going on today? You put a mask on and you just That's gonna be a soundbite. You put a mask on and all of a sudden people vote for you. Now I know how to win 5 o'clock fights.
Well, politicians do it every day.
Well played. Well played. That's true. I'll have to give you a standing ovation for that, except I'm not going to stand up. But well played there. Few more minutes if you want to get your text in.
You're drawing this out, aren't you?
7-1. This segment's now going to 6 o'clock. Nah, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. All right, it's been hot enough.
JD says Diesel just swept
with a ridiculous
mask on.
You should be ashamed of yourself, Cole. I know it's got to be hot. Rip that bad boy off. Let's see it. The unveiling. Who is behind the mask? Here he is. Oh, man. You look better with the mask on. Your face is so red right now.
Oh, my God.
Your face is so
This thing
red.
is made of neoprene.
It's the same color as the mask your face is. I mean, that looks miserable.
Sucked.
Lucha Diesel with a clean sweep, says Bullwinkle. Man, I have yet to win a single round. I guess people do not like my salary redistribution answer.
I can't believe you don't want a 4-day work week. You're still going to get that money.
No, it's just it'll be at a different time.
So I did the math here, Cole.
Okay.
I did the math here for you. This will help you out if you're on the fence on this. Okay. For somebody who makes $50,000 a year, which we don't, but some people do
make way more than that.
Yeah. For somebody who makes $50,000 a year, this is pre-tax. If you were to take 3 months out of the year, which is the summer, that would cost you $12,500 over the course of 3 months. That's what you make over the course of 3 months.
Okay.
20% of that is $2,500. So you take that $2,500 pre-tax, and then you take whatever you would make on that after tax. What is that, like $1,800 or so?
Something like that, yeah.
You take that $1,800, you're not going to get that over the course of 3 months. Sorry, it's now going over the course of the next 9 months.
So here's where the only way you could change my mind. If you're in a situation like I am, where I do have 2 other kind of hustles that I, rely on for income.
Yeah. Security system and feet picks.
Well, the feet picks was kind of private. I didn't really tell a lot of people about the feet pick stuff until I got rich on it. I was going to wait until I got the big mansion until they said, hey, where'd you get this mansion? Well, I sold feet pick. By the way, JC says clean sweep Diesel. And then another text from the 706 says sweep Diesel. What the world? Anyways, if you have other sources of income to rely on, maybe you really don't notice.
You could get a part-time job if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay. So we get paid twice a month. So let's take that $1,800. That's around about what you get after taxes if you're making $50K. Divide that by 6 paychecks over the course of 3 months. That's $300 a paycheck gone. But you're getting that $300 a paycheck, the $1,800 distributed over the next 9 months. So you're still getting paid that money. You're just making slightly less over the summer months.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I understand it. And Amazon guy, by the way, texted in. He says working 410s is the best way. Monday through Thursday. Look, I mean, a lot of people do it. 10-hour, 12-hour shift, right?
Amazon guy, what if you could work 3 12s
Oh, my God, sign me
or
up.
3 13s?
I mean, it's like a firefighter shift or a nurse's shift, you know? A lot of, I mean, I have friends who's a firefighter. I think he works twice a week, 2 days a week.
Gotta love that.
Do you know that? Firefighters?
No, I didn't know that. I've got a friend who's an EMT. He's got a crazy schedule.
Well, EMTs, I think they do work a lot more. I think there's a lot more dead people than there are fires. Madcraft, Cole, it must be dark down there under that rug. Whole upstate broke out the brooms today on Cole, which is true.
You didn't vote for me just because I was wearing the mask, did you? Did you think it was somebody else and not me? Because I've been getting my ass kicked in this
Finally,
thing.
I got one. AJ from the 803 says Diesel round 1, but Cole takes 2 and 3.
But his vote came in after I took the mask off. So that supports my theory. People were voting when they didn't know it was me.
Oh, man, maybe so. Maybe so. You did sound a little different. AJ from the 803, you're the man. I appreciate you. I like you even more now than I ever have because you voted for me.
I'm so glad I didn't have to wear that thing for a whole hour.
Honestly, how long could you have worn it without it becoming a serious
half-hour tops?
Really?
Half-hour tops.
Well, you already at 20 minutes.
It itches like hell. It's hot. You can't open your eyes all the way. You can't breathe properly because, again, this mask, it only has, if you're watching on the stream, you can see this. It only has 2 little nose holes.
Yeah.
But it has no mouth holes.
Yeah, but who breathes through their nose, right?
Nobody. Psychopaths.
I mean, come on. That's just funny, though. It was a good laugh. But you know what? You paid off the debt. You paid off your bet. And you were a man of your word, so it was a good laughing moment for the stream.
When we come back, we're going to go back into the world, Cole, of our bracket challenge. Texters have been asking, clamoring for days. When are you going to do the mom and pop restaurant portion of the bracket? Well, guess what? We're going to do it next, right here on the Fan Upstate. It's Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson right here on the Fan Up State. Every summer, we have some fun. We do our little bracket challenge, and this year is no different. So in years past, we've taken one single category. We've taken all your submissions, and we've had them play it off. Well, this year, we had so many fantastic suggestions for what our summertime bracket challenge should be about. We decided, let's just cram them all together, do a free-for-all, like a big winner-take-all wrestling match. And we have your favorite downtown, your favorite single spot in the upstate. And today, we're taking your submissions for your favorite mom-and-pop restaurants in the upstate. So the only rules here, Cole, is no chains unless the chain started here in the upstate. And there are a few chains that started here in the upstate. I'm not going to give them away because I want all this to be organic and real. But to back up and to recap, your favorite downtowns, here were your submissions. We had multiple submissions for Greer, multiple for Fountain Inn, Greenville, Travelers Rest, Simpsonville, and Spartanburg. Now, if you're mad that your favorite downtown, you think there's a town here in the upstate that has a really cool downtown that didn't get submitted, well, guess what? That's your fault for not being here that day and submitting it. But we're moving on to our favorite local restaurants. Our favorite local mom and pop spots.
We're going to get some good ones, I think.
We're going to get some good ones. And guess what? Depending on how many restaurants and locations and downtowns we decide to put in this whole bracket, these could dominate. These could take over and fill up a lot of extra spots in this bracket.
So get them in. Let's go.
Get them in right now. 71307. Start your text with keyword fan or message in on the stream on Facebook, Twitter, or on YouTube. Give us your favorite mom and pop local restaurant. No chains allowed unless the chain started here in the upstate.
See, I only have one issue with this. We're doing this segment at 5:30, and I'm already getting hungry as Trey sends in Ike's Corner Grill at number one. Like, Trey, way to make me just water at the mouth, right? I mean, that's a great one to start off. Favorite mom and pops. There's a lot of good ones. I mean, a lot of good ones. Some of my favorite places to eat are the mom and pops. Some of them are a hole in a wall, Diesel, that not a lot of people know about. You know, I like those kind of, I don't want to say secret, but those places that just are a little hidden of a gem. All right. Here, man, we're getting some that I've never heard of.
On the stream right here.
Stream showing up. Well, text line showing up. I'll go to the text line, Diesel.
Yeah, you go to the text line. I'll go to the stream.
Okay. Tommy's Snack Bar in Malden. Best barbecue sauce, hands down. Again, we're getting suggestions, nominations in for the best mom and pops.
I live in Malden, and I've never heard of Tommy's Snack Bar. Never.
Tommy's Snack Bar. I'll have to check that out. I was just in Malden the other day.
Interesting.
I have never heard of that. I'm looking it up right now. And yeah.
Guys, do us a favor. Make sure when you put the name of the restaurant, when you submit a restaurant name, give us the town that it's in.
That's right.
Because it's possible that there are multiple restaurants of the same name here in the upstate. Just
Diesel,
make sure.
Tommy's Snack Bar. You might have to go check it out, man.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Where is it?
It is on Main Street in Malden.
On Main Street in Malden.
Oh, I'm sorry, North Main Street. I don't know
Tommy's Snack Bar. That is a hole in the wall because I don't know it.
Yeah,
I
think
I drive North Main Street in Malden every single day.
You know where Papa's and Beer is?
Yeah.
Right across the street.
Across from Papa's.
Is there a little automotive place right there?
Oh, yeah. The one that's in Kellett's.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. I didn't realize that was Tommy's Snack Bar. Thank you I have eaten there before. It's been a long time. It's been a long time.
We're already getting flooded, as I thought we would on this topic. All right. Oh my word, the text line just refreshed and I lost my spot. Let's go stream. I've gotten bombarded.
I'm still trying to wipe the cobwebs off my face from that.
The text line is
call it mask.
The text line is broken right now. It's just one after another. So we'll give that a second to cool off. Not literally broken, but there's a lot of text coming.
Madcraft says Frank's for the memories. Sounds like a hot dog shack.
I've been there.
Okay.
We'll take all the suggestions, though.
Yeah.
We'll take the nominations. That's all I'll say.
It says Granny's Kitchen.
Oh, Granny's Kitchen, man.
What town is that in?
Inman, downtown
That's in
Inman. Granny's Kitchen. It's a good one. That's a good suggestion. I think Madcraft lives near me because he's
Is the doghouse also in Inman?
The doghouse is in Campobello. Also a very good suggestion. Madcraft must visit the same places I do. It's another good mom and pops. So those are all of them on the stream for now. But the text line is, woo. All right, let me try to find my spot. Let me find it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like working fast here to write all these down.
Comal 864 in Greenville for favorite mom and pop diesel. That's Comal. I say Comal. You know me. I probably did not pronounce it properly, as I mispronounce a lot of things. Right. Amazon guy says he asked a good question, and I don't know the answer to this. Maybe Amazon guy, maybe the Tolos can help you out on this. Was Pete's started here? Ask Amazon guy. Pete's is like the clock diesel. You ever been there?
To the clock or to Pete's? No, never
it's
been to
very
Pete's.
similar. You know how like the clock has just, I don't want to say replicas, but there's a lot of places that kind of serve that same style
Americana food, burgers and fries.
Yeah. Okay, Corn Chip weighs in. The Huddle and Easley. Not the Huddle House.
Y'all are giving us a lot of great places to go eat food.
Lou and Perry's and Honeypath. Never heard of that either. Again, I don't visit the BHP area that much. Texter was going back to Tommy Snack Bar and said they're also known for the great breakfast at Tommy's Snack Bar. Texter from the 376 Zorba's Lounge. Zorba's Lounge. I told you I can't pronounce anything. On Cleveland Street in Greenville.
I do know Zorba Lounge.
Have you been there?
Yeah, I have been there. It's excellent. It really is.
I've never been there.
It's right next to the Spinks corporate office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? This is going to be tough because you guys are going to make me have to go get a little curious and check these things out. Amazon guy says the drop-in store in downtown Greenville, it's a bodega, but they cook in the back so good, says Amazon guy. The bodega.
See, people who drive for a living, especially delivery guys, y'all are the ones making the stops. You know all the spots.
They do have a hefty advantage, right? G on the text line says Max Drive-In in Clemson. I thought I thought the owners died. Here I am saying that. I don't know for sure. I shouldn't say that. Trey in Kentucky. Trey, Kentucky. Guess what? I like your text out of everybody else's so far. Trey says the New Way. That's Nuway in Spartanburg. Classic Trey. A classic, man. It's always a good one. All right, text from the 360. Spice Diner on Woodruff Road. Again, we're doing best mom and pops for our bracket challenge. Bullwinkle, Tucker's Soda Shop, West Greenville, for nostalgia and shout out, whatever that means. 706 Venus Pie in Spartanburg. Fabulous.
Venus Pie's great.
Oh, man, the pizza, those slices diesel are like this. They're like the size of your freaking face, man. They are so big. Venus Pie is very good. Wing Nuts, Fountain Inn. Wings, beer, and hot dogs, says the texter from the 321. Keith and TR says Shortfields in TR. I've heard of Shortfields, but I don't believe I've been there, Keith. Do not believe I've been to Shortfields. Let's see.
So many already.
So many. This is I knew this one. I knew this one would be
take over the bracket.
This was the crowd favorite for sure. I believe this one was the one that won the Twitter poll we did. April on the stream says Hungry Drover in Tigerville is great. Hungry Drover is good, April. I'll tell you this. I spent 4 years in Tigerville, and I did eat there.
You did go there.
It is very good. It's a very good stop. Madcraft says, what about Ricky's? The one that burnt down, Madcraft, or the one on the west side? Because you know the one that burnt down, what? Is that considered downtown Spartanburg? Let's see. Lester says, I'm pretty sure Mr. Salsas are local. Madcraft says the real deal, Philly cheesesteaks in Boiling Springs. You know, I may upset a lot of people here. I'm not a Philly cheesesteak guy.
I had one for lunch.
No.
Yeah, I did.
Was it good?
I mean, it was from a chain. Sorry, there's not a spot in Malden, a mom and pop spot in Malden for a local cheesesteak.
How was the chain cheesesteak though?
Not great. I mean, like in the grand scheme of cheesesteaks, it wasn't great. Like it was good. It was good, but like, cheesesteaks can be a lot better than what I got.
I don't know, man. Like I've never woke up and craved a cheesesteak before. Mater says Ike's Corner Grill, which we've already got a suggestion for. That is a very popular choice from the majority of the people. But wow. There's no way you got all those, did you?
I did. Okay, so we've got
impressive stuff, man.
I've got multiple votes here for Ike's, Frank's for the Memories, Tommy's Snack Bar in Malden, Granny's Kitchen in Inman, the Doghouse Campobello, Comal in Greenville. Tell us if we're saying that right or wrong.
We'll look at it up.
The Huddle in Easley, Lou and Perry's in Honeypath, Zorba Lounge, Greenville, the Drop-In Store, Greenville, Max Drive-In in Clemson, New Way, Spartanburg, Spice Diner in Greenville, Tucker's Soda Shop in Greenville, Venus Pie in Spartanburg, Wing Nuts in Fountain Inn, Short Fields in Travelers Rest, Hungry Drover in Tigerville, and The Real Deal in Boiling Springs.
So I have been to Wing Nuts. I didn't realize it. I went there a few months ago. I have a few friends in Fountain Inn.
I've been to Wing Nuts.
It's good, man.
Yeah. I've been to Wing Nuts.
I
used to go there and watch fights.
Have you been to the new Fountain Inn and Simpsonville? Downtown is just
blowing up.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. And that stretch there, what I don't remember which road that is that goes between them. That stretch there is just going to keep growing.
Going back to the downtown conversations, those are really fun. Downtown Simpsonville is really popping. Some good places down there too. You know what? There's two in downtown Simpsonville that I'm surprised have not been texted in by our Tolos. It shocks me because they are something else. But we'll continue to allow you to suggest the mom and pops.
Here's what's crazy to me, Cole. There's a chain that started here in the upstate that nobody mentioned that is now in at least 3 locations. I think there's probably more than that.
Wait a minute.
It started in downtown Greenville.
Oh.
Think late night food.
Oh, never mind. I was thinking totally different.
Well, it's breakfast food, but it's late night. That's what it's intended for. Like a lot of drunk people go get this after a night of party in downtown.
See, I was thinking when you said Greenville, I was thinking the seafood place, the Louisiana texter will text in. You know what I'm talking about. There's several of them. It's a chain now.
No, I'm talking about Sully's.
Never been.
Sully's Steamer started in Greenville.
Okay, there's one in Spartanburg now.
Is there?
Yes, I've passed it a million times.
There's one in Simpsonville. There's one in Malden. You say there's one in Spartanburg now?
Yes.
Bro.
Yes, downtown.
It is a chain.
Right across from Walford.
Again, I can't suggest it.
Texter said Sully's, Diesel.
Yeah, I can't suggest it. Somebody has to put it out there.
Texter from the 230. They got it. They got the one I was waiting on. Slice in Simpsonville. Texter 230. If you've been, I'm upset with you because you didn't invite me. I mean, I'm serious. I love the Slice. It's a good one. Texter says Whiteford's in Clinton. Bullwinkle says Coach House in Simpsonville. All right, we've got to take a break because we're going to run up against it and be shorting ourselves for that last segment if we don't. One more. Oh, never mind. Keith and TR is telling us about a menu item at Shortfields. We appreciate those, though. We'll get back to it, and we'll have this bracket for you here in the next couple of, weeks, right?
Sure.
Coming up next, though, let's get back to the Braves. We're going to talk about them in the 3 o'clock hour. They took 2 of 3 from the best team in baseball over the weekend, but is it sustainable? We'll talk about it next. Diesel, do you like roller coasters?
No, I don't. They scare me. I like a little girl.
So you and I are in the same boat there. I don't like roller coasters.
I don't like that feeling of like when you start to drop and that pit of your stomach, just all of it churns all at once. No.
I've never had
I'm
an
out.
issue standing on the ground, you know? I mean, really, I've never thought, man, I'd like to be up there in the clouds going 175 miles an hour. The reason I ask you if you like roller coasters is, if you're a Braves fan, you better. You better like roller coasters if you're a Braves fan, because that's exactly what you've got. It is a roller coaster of a 2024 season. You experience the lowest of lows, but then, Diesel, you go take 2 or 3 from the Yankees, right? A few weeks ago. Well, you lose a few more. You lose to Chicago in a 1-game stint, right? Then you play the Phillies after losing 2 of 3 that same week. You and I are saying there's no way they're going to go take 2 of 3 against Philly. They're the best team in baseball, right? What do the Braves do? Whoom, right up the roller coaster and take 2 of 3.
They did the same thing to the Yankees.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I do
What's
not
going on with
know
this team?
how good of a analyst you have to be, but how do you put a finger on what's going on? I mean, really, they're losing to bad teams, but they're like, oh yeah, when we play good teams, we can win. Austin Riley shows up. We'll take it. I'm not saying we won't take it. I'll take it as a Braves fan, but this, I don't know if it's sustainable, right? I don't know if this kind of play is sustainable. I guess the only thing you would hope if you're a Braves fan is this roller coaster, if it continues, when you get to the playoffs, it's time to go up again. But just like on a roller coaster, when you get to the top, what happens? You go down. That really is a summation of what this Braves season has been.
Need to look into the schedule and see, when do they play the Orioles again?
God,
when do they play the Guardians
right now?
When do they play the Mariners? The Brewers and the Dodgers? Better watch out.
Yeah. So this weekend, Friday, game 1, the Phillies take game 1, 8-6. Braves scored 6 runs, though, right? That kind of feels like a win. Saturday. What happened Saturday? Well, the Braves nearly shut out the Phillies, Diesel. 5-1 win. Rookie Schwellenbach was on fire. He was nasty. On Saturday, okay, you tied the series. Surely you're not going to win game 3. Well, what did the Braves do? They shut out the Phillies yesterday, 6-0, back to 8 games back in the NL East. Yesterday, they scored 5 runs in the second inning. Olsen and Duvall were fantastic. You know what? Again, we've talked about this a million times. There's these little blips, little bright spots, Diesel, that make you think this is what this team was a year ago. This was the best team in baseball. This was the best offense in baseball a year ago. However, like you said, when they play an average team, they play the Diamondbacks tonight in a 4-game series. The question becomes, where's the consistency, right? And I think that's the issue for Braves fans is, yeah, you can go beat the Yankees, you can go beat the Phillies, but you got to have consistency.
The Diamondbacks are a 500 team right now. So, yeah, the Braves are going to lose.
But you know what? To Jake Mastriani's point the other day, and I agree with 100% what he said here, despite the Braves' record of them having 10 more wins than losses, they're a 500 team. You know, in the last 10, they're 5-5.
Yeah.
They won a lot at the beginning of the year that made that record a lot better than it really is. But in the last 10 games, the Atlanta Braves are 5-5. So right now they're a 500 team.
Yeah. They need a lot of home baseball over the next couple of weeks to get this right. 29-17 at home, 20-22 on the road, which is not awful.
No, it's not.
I mean, you want to be hovering right there around 500, maybe a little bit above 500 on the road. But the Truist Park is what's saving their asses right now because they are 11 games over 500 at home. When we come back, Cole, on the other side of the break, we will replay our interview from earlier in the show with David Newton, who writes about the Panthers for ESPN. That's coming up next.
We appreciate the feedback in the WNBA mascot challenge, as it was bad but funny, right? As long as it's funny.
I thought I had you.
That's all that matters.
God,
All
so
right.
mad at myself.
Speaking of all that matters, the Carolina Panthers is all you care about. I don't know. We have a lot of people right here in the upstate who are fans of other teams, but we bring on David Newton of ESPN to talk a little Carolina Panthers. David, hope you're well, man. It's been a little quiet on the Panthers front, but maybe not necessarily a bad thing when David Tepper's your owner, right?
That's exactly true. I've stayed as far away from it as possible for the last 3 weeks to kind of get a break and re-energize myself for the season.
David, how is it that so many of you Panthers beat writers all ended up at the exact same Atlanta Braves game? And when you're answering that question, I also want you to answer this. What's the tougher beat, covering the Panthers in 2023 or the Braves in 2024?
Oh, wow. I'm going to go with Panthers over probably. I mean, that was pretty tough. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting because Joe Person and Mike Kay are both Philly fans, and we were talking during the mini camp or mandatory camp and during off-season workouts, and they were like, we got to get to Atlanta to watch a game against the Phillies. And I'm like, well, then my son had planned this weekend for us to go up there and watch the Braves, and it turned out to be against the Phillies. Next thing you know, we're all three there. It wasn't planned to be together at the same time, but I was in Braves gear, they were in Phillies gear, so it all worked out well for me because the two games we were there together, Braves won both of them. So yeah, it was just one of those strange things that happen.
Well, you led me to it. I was going to say, David, I don't know how much it'll cost, but I would love for you to continue to go to those Braves games as we need you there. But, David, it's fascinating, the 2024 Carolina Panthers. We had a guest on a few months ago, and, the perception is reality in a lot of cases, but tripling your amount of wins from 2023, it sounds great. But to David Newton's opinion, is it possible for the Panthers in 2024?
To triple their wins from 2 to 6?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah, I can see it happening. I won't say easily, but I mean, it's still. I think the roster is much better than it was a year ago. I think Bryce Young's going to bounce back and play much better this season. I think the defense is going to be strong, but again, they've got a long ways to go. It's not going to be like an overnight thing. I mean, Dan Morgan was a part of the 2001 team that went 1-15, and then came back in 2002, and they won 7 games. So they actually more than tripled their wins. And then in 2003, they were in the Super Bowl. So it's got to be a stepping stone to get to where they want to be. And I think they'll show a lot of improvement. But can they, win more than 6 or 7 games? That's going to be tough. You look at that schedule; it's not going to be easy. The teams they're playing are also many of them are better too. So, I think the product on the field is going to be better. Probably more fun for fans to watch. I think Bryce will probably earn back some of what he got in college and be more of that type player. But again, it's a long ways to go before they get to where this is a playoff team.
Find him on Twitter at DNewtonESPN. David Newton joins us here on Wire to Wire. David, you wrote a piece about the Panthers' secondary coach, Jonathan Cooley, and head coach Dave Canales building their relationship through early morning yoga sessions. I want you to look as macro or as micro as you want, but what relationships between Panthers players on the field have to get right for the team to find more success this year?
Well, I mean, I think the relationship between Bryce Young and his offensive line has got to get solid. I mean, I don't know how Bryce would never say he didn't trust the guys in front of him last year, but there's no way he could have trusted those guys. But I mean, 62 sacks. I mean, 35 of them came right up the middle. So, I mean, you got to rebuild that and have that relationship and make that work. And I think the relationship between Bryce and his wide receivers has got to be stronger. I mean, other than Thielen last year, it doesn't seem like he had a relationship with any of the other receivers out there. So I sorry about that little moment for me as fan bouncing in my phone. I should have turned that off. But and so anyway, it was I think that they've got to get all that straightened out. I mean, right now I think Deontay Johnson and Thielen are going to be there, and I think Xavier Legette's going to be a solid player for him too. So I think the wide receiver group is already better than it was a year ago. But again, they've got to get that chemistry and show it in games and get everything working, everybody on the same page, something they never really were last year.
David, that's a fascinating answer. I want to play off of that. In your opinion, how much do those relationships, let's just take it, for example, with Bryce and the offensive line, do those relationships matter more than people think when it comes to the actual success, or is it just about the Jimmies and Joes, in your opinion?
I think it matters, and at the core of, I wrote about this too, at the core of Dave Canales' whole philosophy out there is based on, relationships and finding levels of trust and levels of self-awareness. He uses self-awareness a lot. And I found that fascinating. But when you look at it, I mean, and the way he explained it, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, he talked about Bryce before Bryce was even drafted, and he was at Tampa Bay in a pre-draft meeting, and he brought Bryce in, and he said, hey, there was something I saw you fixed during your last year at Alabama. And he didn't tell him what it was. He just said, I saw something. And then Bryce went through this whole probably 3 or 4 or 5 minute explanation of what he fixed. And then Canales turned around and showed him his notes and said, that's exactly what I said. And his evaluation. So knowing that Bryce had that self-awareness to know that he needed to fix that to be the type of player he needed to be, and knowing Canales could see that, it all kind of works hand in hand. So yeah, I think there's something to all of that, and how teams with great relationships. You look at the teams the Panthers have had that have gone to the Super Bowl or made the playoffs. You could tell in the locker room there was just strong relationships among players and teammates that kind of was well beyond what you'd seen before.
He covers the Panthers for ESPN NFL Nation. David Newton joins us here on the Fan Upstate. As you've studied some of the reported plans for this new $650 million renovation, what elements do you think the most number of fans will be able to get their hands on? And what elements kind of seem a little more geared to upper management, kind of like a vanity project?
No, the stadium needed an upgrade. I mean, I've been around way too long. I saw it in the very beginning in '96, its first season, and it was state of the art then. But it's not state of the art now. They've done the best they can to kind of keep it up to date, but it needs an upgrade. I think a lot of the bells and whistles that you see at some of the new stadiums that fans seem to enjoy. I can't tell you what they all are because I don't roam the halls of their corridors of the stadium where the fans hang out, but you can tell when I did a tour of it before I took a break, and you could tell that it just didn't have the vibe that a lot of these new stadiums have. So I think they'll see more lights and bells and whistles and more fun things to do and things like that in there, and just some bare necessity things they'll need as well. So I think it's probably even overdue that they had to go through this upgrade. The big issue, I guess, was who was going to pay for it. And, the city has agreed to at least help pay for a portion of it. So that's been the biggest hang up. And I think that David Tepper had lost a lot of, I guess, trust. When you talk about relationship, trust in the community, with what happened with the Rock Hill situation and the practice facility there, then what happened, with the first practice facility they were going to have in the headquarters for a soccer team. So there's some trust and rebuilding being done at that point or that level too.
It's a great answer, David. I like that a lot. I want to ask you this: when you look at the 2024 schedule, you know how fans are, man. Like, even as low as the Panthers have been over the last few years, as well as I do, it really only will take one win over somebody that you're not supposed to beat to just kind of give this fan base a sense of hope, right? So I ask you, if you were in the first 8 weeks to look at the schedule and find a game that really could surprise Panthers fans, whether it be the Saints, Chargers, Raiders, Bengals, Commanders maybe, or the Broncos, what's a game in your opinion that you think could rally this fan base pretty well?
Well, I have to think about that one for a second. I haven't really been looking at the schedule lately, but I do think that it's going to be tough to get off to a good start with the 3 of their first 5 games are on the road, I believe.
That's right.
To me, the one that probably would maybe get people a little confident that they could turn things around might be the Bengals game. What's that? Week 4 or 5,
Yep.
somewhere there. And
September 29th.
yeah, but if they could win that one, it's a home game, so you got to win your home games. That's important. And to be the team that a few years ago was in the Super Bowl, I think that would put a little bit of energy into the team. But again, they've probably the best way to do is go out and beat the Saints on opening day and get some energy off of that. Because if you lose that game and then the Chargers should be a decent team in week 2, and then you lose that one, and then you got to go to the Raiders, which it's always tough to win on the road there, and then back against the Bengals. I mean, it's not going to be easy. They also, I think the Bears game actually is going to be kind of key too, because there's going to be a lot of talk about should they have made that trade with the Bears to get Bryce Young and traded away DJ Moore, and seeing what the Bears have done with their new quarterback they got with the Panthers pick. I think that's one they could really win some at least energy for the fans if they can win that one.
David, true or not, fans love to compare David Tepper to the evil owner of the Cleveland Indians in the movie Major League, who wanted to move the team. But in the description of the renovation plan, the words ties the Panthers to Carolina for another X number of years are thrown around a lot. Do you think there was ever any risk at all for this franchise to leave the city of Charlotte if the renovation plan didn't go through?
I never felt that it was a big risk. I do feel like that the fact that they were able to lock down, I think 15 years are pretty much guaranteed now with the money the city's given him. If Tepper wants to back out after 15 years, then he's got to pay the balance, for that last year. So I just never felt like he was threatening to move them away. But again, with everything that's gone on with this ownership, in the last 5 or 6 seasons, you always got to have that in the back of your mind. I was here when George Shinn moved the Hornets away, and you probably thought that never was going to happen either. So it just, those things happen from time to time. But again, I don't feel like Tepper was seriously out there looking at him. First of all, where is he going to move him? I mean, he's from Pittsburgh and that area, so he's not going to put something close to where he grew up because they already got two teams in that state. So I just don't know where it would have made sense to move the team if he was going to do that, unless he would have moved them, overseas or somewhere. So I just didn't see that as a threat. But I think it was good for the city to lock them down for at least the next 15 years.
David, we're right here in Gamecock country. What kind of update can you give us on Xavier Legette?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we didn't really get to see him during off-season workouts much because of the hamstring injury. So he's got to looking to see what he can do when he gets in there, and he's healthy and ready for training camp, which he's supposed to be. I look forward to. I talked to him a lot about his horseback riding. He grew up down in the Mullins area of South Carolina, and he rode horses a lot. And I kind of was enthralled with that. I grew up on horses as well, so we talked a good bit a while ago about how his experience on horses has helped him as a football player. I know that's probably a stretch for you guys to think about, but I found it very intriguing. He's a really interesting guy. People love the way he talks, for sure. Love his accent. So I think he's definitely going to be an upgrade. I think he's going to be a starter opposite Deontay Johnson, with Thielen kind of mixing in around, the inside guys. So I really like the potential he's got there. And I know Canales fell in love with him the first time he met him.
Dave, FanFest is coming to Clemson here in just a couple of weeks. I was shocked when I heard that they were bringing it back down here. Do you ever foresee training camp returning to the upstate, or is that simply not a priority for Panthers management?
I don't think that's a priority at all. If it was, they never would have left. I mean, Wofford was a good home for him for the duration of his team. I mean, so I don't know. It just wasn't in David Tepper's plans. He wanted to keep it here. Most teams stay at home now, and they have these new sparkling new practice facilities, which David Tepper is building there. It's going to be interesting to see if they have it ready in time for, I'm sure it will be, but be ready enough to really hold fans and do everything they want this year, because it was way, way far behind when I saw, 3 weeks ago. I won't say behind, but it didn't like it was going to be anywhere close to being ready. So, yeah, I'm going to kind of miss going to Wofford and Spartanburg for training camp. And I thought it was a good thing, but I don't think David Tepper is ever going to look back on that one.
Well, David, you do a tremendous job. Our listeners here in the upstate of South Carolina absolutely love it when you're on. We appreciate you taking time to join us, man.
I appreciate it, and I look forward to being up in Clemson in a few weeks and, maybe sneaking down in what's a little place over in Pendleton? A good place to
Smoking Pig?
Yeah, either that or I'll go to the Esso Club and have
There you go.
There.
That's a good plan, man.
Thanks,
to you
David.
soon, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys.
David Newton of ESPN NFL does a tremendous job, really does. We appreciate the comments. Trey says, I love when David's on. Texter from the 345 says, David's really good when he's on. He does a tremendous job.
He is an excellent follow at D Newton ESPN. He is certainly a fantastic follow.
And that pool party is ready to rock. So head on over to Ingles and stock up on all the goodies to get you through your summer of freedom. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Big thanks to David Newton of ESPN for hopping on with us today. Diesel, he's
Fantastic.
Fantastic's 100% the right word, but he's very elaborate is the word I was looking for. And I love that because, the Panthers are not a good team. The Panthers haven't been good. But you listen to that David Newton interview and you're like, man, they must be all right. No, they're not all right. David's just really good at what he does.
He said he has a good feeling about them tripling their win total this year. From 2 to 6. He put it in very great terms there. He said Dan Morgan was there for the 1-15 season.
Yep.
The next year they won 7. The next year after that they were in the Super Bowl.
2003.
So I mean he's trying to pump a little sunshine maybe at the local Panthers fans, but also he's trying to tell you it's possible. It's possible to see a team make a turnaround that far that fast.
It's so funny to use that term. Triple your win total, and it was Julian Council that used it with us, right? And when he said that, I was in my head. My initial reaction was, "Wow, that's impressive,
Sounds
right?
pretty good,
Sounds
right?
good." But I'm thinking, 2 to 6. You triple 2, you get 6.
Hey, with the NFC South, man, 6 may put you in the hunt.
Here's the question. I think again, he wasn't looking to schedule, but I wanted to ask you the same thing here. For the Patriots in 2024, I'll tell you what their schedule looks like to start the season. As he said, they're at the Saints to start the season.
You mean the Panthers?
Did I say Patriots?
You said Patriots.
We don't cover the Patriots. The Panthers. I apologize. Thank you. The Panthers in 2024. They start the season at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, right? Sunday, September 8th. Then they come home for a game with the Chargers. Then they go East Coast to West Coast to Las Vegas or to Los Angeles, rather. Saints. Home against the Chargers. Back West Coast at Las Vegas. Back home, Cincinnati. At Soldier Field in Chicago. A lot of flights in the first few weeks for the Panthers. Mm-hmm. Back home, hosting the Falcons. That's the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. So let's just take those first 6 games.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, I asked him the same question. What's the team that the Panthers what's the game they could win that would pump the life into this fan base? I don't think they're beating the Bengals, Diesel.
No.
Like, that was his answer.
Week 1 at New Orleans, loss. Week 2, home versus the Chargers, likely a loss.
Yeah.
Week 3 at the Raiders. Who's quarterback for the Raiders this year? Nobody?
Diesel, I think.
So I'm going to say that's a win.
It could be.
1 and 2. Bengals, loss. 1 and 3. Bears. I'm going to say, it's at the Bears.
At Soldier Field, yeah.
I'm going to say the Panthers pull that one out and get the win. So that's
already 3 wins?
That's 5. It's 1 and 4, excuse me, or 1 and 3, 2 and 3. My apologies.
Gotcha.
And then Falcons at home. I say they could get back to 500 by week 6.
So Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew are the quarterbacks for the Raiders. I agree with you that the Saints game is going to be tough. However, I do think the next week, September 15th, at Bank of America, Diesel, man, that Chargers game, that could be a sneaky game. And I'm not saying the Panthers are going to beat the Chargers, but I'm just saying, to David's point, they lost Kellen Moore, their OC. The Chargers have been a mess when it comes to front office and coaching staff. Yeah, they have the better quarterback in Justin Herbert, but he said it. You got to win the home games, right?
Yeah, it's the Chargers are a winnable game, but I don't see it as a likely win. I mean, I'm going to go 60-40 Chargers in that one.
What did JB say?
It says Panthers not beating nobody.
Not beating nobody. JB, come on, man. You don't think where's your hope for the Panthers at?
And where's your grammar?
Not beating nobody. That means they're beating everybody, right? if you say they're not beating nobody, that means they're going undefeated, is what JB's predicting. So you never know. You never know. I hope it turns out to be like, I don't want to say you and I are just shell-shocked by what the Panthers do, but I hope that 6 weeks in, to your point, like if they could be hovering around 500,
Yeah.
it'd be a huge win.
I'm going to need them to be hovering around 500 because that would be 2 straight years of covering an awful football team.
On the Panthers pregame?
Now, 2022, yes. 2022 was a solid season for the Panthers.
Yeah,
I understand, like, especially once they fired Matt Rule.
The last few games,
last couple weeks were really interesting, really compelling to cover. And then it all went downhill. And it sucked.
It did.
Ever since then.
You know what's fascinating, though? If they were to open the season, I know Rob Brown would absolutely hate it, but if they were to come out September the 8th at New Orleans and go on the road and win, I'm not saying overreact. I'm not saying get the Super Bowl parade started, Diesel, but man, that would be monstrous for the Carolina Panthers to be able to start 1-0 on the road. Talking about pumping life into a fan base.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, those guys would feel on top of the world.
Can we get Derek Brown to go like kneecap Derek Carr so that the Spencer Rattler era in New Orleans can go ahead and start?
It'd be great, wouldn't it? Except if Derek Carr got hurt in that game, Rattler comes in, balls out, and beats the Panthers. And beats Xavier Legette.
You're telling me that wouldn't be compelling as hell?
Oh, that's what we would lead the show with.
Can we will that into existence, please?
We would.
That would be the most entertaining thing that could happen week 1 for the Carolina Panthers.
It would be something, that's for sure. So there's your Panthers conversation. Diesel, I want to ask you a question about a disagreement, I guess you could call it, that Rob Brown and I had yesterday on X. And JD, one of our loyal Tolos, he disagreed with me as well. I was watching what was an attempt at a race yesterday, and that's exactly what I'll call it, an attempt at a race. Yesterday, as you know, we talked to Shane Connick on Friday. The guys were in Chicago for a street course yesterday, right? So a lot of rain, a lot of bad weather. The racing, if that's what you want to call it, that they got in, Diesel, let's just say wasn't very entertaining. I told you before, we've talked about it. I'm not a big fan of the street courses, right? So I tweeted out a video yesterday and I said, this just doesn't do it for me. Y'all can have these road courses. Rob comes back and says, your loss. I'll take one road race before I take 10 boring-ass half-a-mile cookie cutters, mile-and-a-half cookie cutters, rather. And my response was, yeah, nothing like getting up to 65 miles an hour in the heart of NASCAR country, downtown Chicago. And JD Wyatt, good friend of the show, Tolo, says, you must not have seen the race yesterday, talking about the Xfinity race, loser take. I don't know why I'm getting pushback on this. And obviously, you being from North Carolina, you will have a very interesting opinion on this. But am I totally off when I say what I saw yesterday, getting up to 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, that ain't racing? Am I off?
It ain't NASCAR racing. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I didn't watch. I didn't watch it because it doesn't interest me.
Mm-hmm.
NASCAR in general doesn't interest me a whole lot.
Sure.
And then NASCAR in the streets of Chicago. I remember tuning in and watching part of it last year. And I was kind of into it for about 10 minutes. And then I was like, oh, these guys are going slow. Like, what's really the point? I mean, it'd be a heck of a lot cooler if they didn't put up the barriers and you could be driving into some dude's, laundromat.
Right.
When you spin somebody out. Let's put something on the line here.
I just don't know if I can get behind going to downtown Chicago. And I know people use the argument of, it's getting eyes on the sport. I understand that NASCAR needs all the eyeballs it can get, right? I get that. But here's the analogy I want to use, Diesel. Something that I learned a long time ago. And when I say long time ago, I mean 2 years ago, right? 2 or 3 years ago, when I first started getting in business for myself, somebody told me that I was learning a lot from. They said, your number one customer will be your repeat customer, right? Same for a restaurant. Your number one customer base will be your repeat customers.
Mm-hmm.
For my small business, what I do, that is very true. The people you build relationships with, they'll spend money with you again, right? I don't know that NASCAR's approach to growing the sport by going to big cities is going to grow the sport like people think. They have a customer base. Why not focus on that customer base and juice and milk that customer base until it can't be milked anymore?
Because we're thinking about logical, what logical people would do. And we're not considering what money-hungry, power-hungry men in suits will do. And it's the same argument with college football.
Well,
the argument of conference expansion. Do you want saturation or do you want new market penetration?
Sure.
And I asked this question of Shane Connick last week. I wanted to know, in his opinion, do these spectacle-style races, these spectacle events, I'm talking the one-offs at the LA Coliseum, I'm talking about the races in the streets of Chicago, those that are not out of the norm for NASCAR races.
Mm-hmm.
Do they build long-lasting fans? Like, do you tune in? Is somebody so enthralled by watching racing through downtown Chicago that they say, oh, well, I've got to tune in next week for their race at Martinsville or Darlington or Charlotte or Texas? I don't know. I mean, they may look at that and say, well, that's boring. I don't want to watch them go around in circles.
They could,
right? I think NASCAR is in the middle of a massive identity crisis right now.
Limbo.
I get why they want to be more than just a small Southern sport.
Yeah.
Because every business in this country wants to grow. You got a business, Cole, you may think it's doing pretty well. Guess what? You want to grow it.
That's right.
And that's what these NASCAR owners, that's what the France family wants to do also. I completely understand it. But you also have to consider at what expense. We're growing this sport with new audience members at what cost? And that's something that NASCAR has got to figure out. I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know if they say to themselves, well, we're never going to get those people back. So why don't we just go silly with it, and have it be Caddyshack 2. I don't know if you ever saw Caddyshack 2. If you get the reference here, they took what was a fine, beautiful golf course and they turned it into an over-the-top spectacle.
Correct.
And that's kind of what's happening with a lot of sports right now. It's what's happening with boxing, with Jake Paul fighting 65-year-old men, fighting ex-MMA fighters who are over their prime. I mean, really, what does that tell you? And that's not good boxing. It's not good boxing to watch a dude who's been in the sport for like 10 minutes fighting against one of the greatest of all time, who's now well over his prime age-wise. Mike Tyson's still terrifying to watch work out. If you ever watch those, oh my God. If I'm Jake Paul, I understand why he's pushing that fight back. But I mean, it's silly. It's over the top. And I guess that's what gets people to tune in, right? They're taking that social media model of let's make this as silly and stupid as we can to get people to tune in and buy it.
My thing is NASCAR is not Formula One. NASCAR's never been Formula One. NASCAR, at the height of its sport, Diesel, was not having to go to downtown Chicago and put a can out on the side of the street and shake their can and say, please put money in my jar. Please watch my sport. At the height of their sport, they were taking names and kicking butt in the places that made their sport what it was. And I don't think the solution to growing the sport is street courses in downtown Chicago. Yes, it gets new eyeballs on the sport. I get that. But that's not what this sport is. If you want to create another sport where that's what you are, where that's what your identity is, then by all means go for it. But NASCAR, to me, is Martinsville, North Wilkesboro, Darlington, right? That's what NASCAR is to me. To me, NASCAR is not what I saw yesterday in downtown Chicago.
I'm with you. I've watched the sport change to the point where it's unrecognizable. And I used to love watching cars go 200 miles an hour, draft on each other, pull cars around the track, go 210, 212, 215. It was fascinating to me to see how far somebody can get out ahead. That's what was interesting to me. Now I don't recognize the sport anymore. First of all, a whole new generation of drivers has come in. Can't do anything about that. That's time.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Second of all, whole new crop of sponsors. Don't recognize most of them. Most of them don't feel like NASCAR sponsors. Third of all, the formats of these races don't make any sense to me. Let's stop the race 5-6 times in the middle of the race to bunch them up. Why?
Yeah.
What's the point in trying to make an engine so fast and so strong that I can build a 15-second lead on you, only to have you take it away from me at a scheduled interval? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, back to your point, it seems as if NASCAR's like sat in a boardroom with 15 different executives and tried to listen to everybody, right? It's like if mine and your boss had a meeting with all of the on-air talent and said, hey, what do you think we should do about this? Or this new carpet we're getting, what do y'all think it should look like? Well, you chime in, I chime in, Rob Brown chimes in, Lonzo chimes in, JD, Stoneman rather chimes in. I don't know why I called him JD there. Stoneman chimes in, the Rise guys chime in, Charlie James chimes in, right? Everybody chimes in. Well, we come in the building and the carpet's 19 different colors. It doesn't feel good to walk on, right? There's no consistency. That's what NASCAR feels like right now.
Have you ever heard the saying, a horse designed by a committee is a camel?
I have heard that.
It's like somebody saying, oh, we need to make it have long legs. Oh, it needs to be able to go long distances. Oh, it needs to be able to carry water. Oh, it needs to be able to deal with the sun.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Now you got a long-legged, long-distance animal that has a hump filled with water, and it's got big eyelashes to protect its eyes from the sun. Now you got a camel.
You know, I think the best thing they could do is let guys like Dale Jr. and former drivers who helped build the sport to what it was. I mean, Dale Jr., he saw his dad do it, has a pretty good idea of what it took to get NASCAR to the top, right? How about let's let the guys that know what they're doing have a say in it rather than whoever's making it. And I get it. There is no off season. You have to test things during the season, and that I totally understand that. It's a sport where you have to change every week. Like the rules committee in NASCAR meets, and 3 weeks from now that the playoffs get here, in 6 weeks they may have some new rule changes, new tires. They did it at North Wilkesboro with the All-Star race, the 2 sets of tires, and them trying to decipher which one they wanted to go with, and making the driver start with this set of time. It's ever changing. I get that, but man, I want to be more into it than I am. I just can't get into the road stuff.
Are you and I basically proving NASCAR's strategy right? In the fact that, are you and I, two old NASCAR fans, saying the sport has changed? It's not what I like anymore. I don't like the drivers. I don't like the sponsors. I don't like the tracks. I don't like the points. I don't like the race formats. You're never going to get me back. And so they're saying, well, screw you, Colin Diesel. We don't need you because we're never going to get you back. So we stop trying.
Yeah, I understand that point, but to my age demographic and even your age, they should be gnawing at the bit to get 28, 29, 30-year-olds, early 30s, I mean, that's what should be making this sport so great. But again, I know it still has its core fan base, but it's just it's something else, man. I like this comment here. Did you see this? Kevin from Fair Play chimes in on the text line. Kevin, we appreciate you listening, but Kevin says NASCAR's been reading the comments section too much.
You're not wrong, Kevin.
That's exactly how we feel about it.
It's morphed into something unrecognizable. And this is something that, I mean, if you talk to a higher up at NASCAR, they would say, "Oh, sir, your opinion is really important." And I say, "Look, I grew up coming to this race.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up spending weekends in your tracks twice a year, every year, watching it on TV every single Sunday. And now I don't care."
Hey,
they say, "Well, guess what? We're going to Chicago anyway."
I tell you this, and I don't talk about this a lot because I don't want it to come across the wrong way. I have family who raced in NASCAR, right? And the family that I have that's still alive, and everybody in the upstate knows who it is. My uncle, the one that's still alive, doesn't watch it. And his dad was a very prominent name in NASCAR. And former drivers aren't watching it. So what's that tell you, right?
That tells me NASCAR is in big trouble. When we come back, Cole, we're going to put a bow on show number 73, and we're going to take you with a quick whip around the sports world, all the topics that we didn't get a chance to get to today. Your Daily Wires coming up next.
your adult softball beer league counts as a sport.
This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson.
A ton to get to and only 6 minutes to get there. Each and every day, we pack together all the stories that we don't get a chance to talk about throughout the show into one segment that we call our Daily Wires. This is the buzz going around the sports world today. The Atlanta Braves took 2 out of 3 from the NL leading Philadelphia Phillies over the weekend. They're now 8 games back in the NL East. Make it make sense. They play the best teams in baseball and they win. But then they play the worst teams in baseball and they lose.
Huh, sounds familiar, right?
Jordan Spieth had himself a monster Saturday, shooting a 63 at the John Deere Classic. That's good, but not quite as good as the guy that shot a 59 on Thursday.
Pretty good.
American Davis Thompson finished minus 28 overall at the John Deere Classic and took home the first place trophy. Minus 28 on the day, doing the math. That's finishing, 7 under every day? It's averaging 7 under every day. It's pretty good. Pretty good. The Atlanta Braves, by the way, are sending Marcell Ozuna, Chris Sale, and Ronaldo Lopez to the All-Star game in Arlington, Texas, the 2024 All-Star game. Just 3 All-Stars on the team. We were predicting like 8 before the season started. Well, we kind of jinxed that, I guess.
We sure did.
Clemson has gotten the commitment from Tate Reynolds, a current 3-star prospect. He is in the 2026 class, a 2-sport athlete from Queen Creek in Arizona. He got a comp to Jalen Hurts, which a lot of people were kind of up in arms about the comparison to Jalen Hurts. Again, he is a class of 2026 guy and a rising junior at his high school. Still a lot of time to develop and possibly pick up more of those stars, because that's what you guys love to see.
Yep.
You only care about how many stars are next to their name. Let's see. The race in Chicago concluded at 9:25 Eastern. Yet last night, Alex Bowman took home the checkered flag. We spent a lot of time talking about that in the last segment. We got a funny text there. Texter says, the world is phasing out us dumb Southern rednecks. NASCAR is just prepping for the future. All right.
Good text. Good text.
The Pac-12 has officially removed some of its ex-member logos from their website. So goodbye, Southern Cal, Washington, Oregon, UCLA. It's sad, man. It's the end of an era when teams leave their long-standing conference. UEFA appointed referee Felix Zwayer to referee England's Euro 2024 semifinal against the Netherlands. Why is that important? Well, he was convicted of match fixing in 2005. He
not allowed?
Suspended. No, it's not allowed. You can't fix matches.
Why?
But can we get Tim Donaghy to referee Team USA games in the Olympics? That'd be great. Steph Curry told ESPN that he believes the Warriors dynasty is unlikely to ever be repeated.
Ooh.
Quote, people thought this thing was over in 2019, but 2022 was an amazing championship because we defied the odds. That's 11 years of almost 12 years of championship relevancy built around a certain core.
Wow. Without parking here too long, because I know we got to go in 2.5 minutes. He's 100% right.
You think so?
Yeah.
But you say no team will ever be able to build, a decade with a core of players again?
The core that they had that didn't change for such a long period of time, that's what is so mesmerizing. That's what's so impressive. Could Boston replicate it? Maybe. But, man, Golden State was good for a long time.
But with that massive deal, what Jason Tatum just got,
Yeah.
I mean, eventually you run into salary issues and you just can't pay that many guys that much for that long. Conor McGregor won himself $1.1 million betting on Nate Diaz to beat Jorge Masvidal in a UFC event over the weekend. Congratulations to Conor. Saturday, the first 18,000 fans in the stands at Yankee Stadium got a George Costanza bobblehead. That's kind of fun, because George Costanza on Seinfeld worked for the Yankees. Well, they are now reselling on the internet on the secondary market for over $200. Would you buy a George Costanza bobblehead for $200?
No.
I think that's
and
fun.
The Yankees are starting to.
I would have gone to the game. If I lived in New York, even if I was not a New York Yankees fan, I would have gone to the game just to get one because I like Seinfeld. And let's see. Dan Hurley and UConn have agreed to a new 6-year, $50 million contract plus performance-based incentives. That puts him at $8.3 million a year, right on par with John Calipari at Arkansas.
How about that?
He is right there with the tippy-top highest paid coaches in college basketball, as he deserves to be. $8.5 million though to coach basketball. I never thought basketball salaries would get that big.
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
Pretty big. Hey, you'll be proud of me yesterday. I forgot to tell you this. Yesterday was a rest/recovery day for me. I didn't do much of anything except just relax, watch a little TV, Netflix, Amazon Prime. Watched 2 really good movies and documentaries yesterday. Fury, the war movie that we had suggested. I hadn't seen it in a while, and I don't know, man. After watching Fury yesterday, it's at the top for me. Have you seen Fury?
No, I don't think I did.
Oh,
Brad Pitt's in it. Right?
It's got a star-studded cast. It's fantastic, so I'll recommend you need to watch it. It's a great movie. And then last night, I watched the documentary about the McDonald's chain starting. Have you seen that? Diesel. Oh my word! You have got to go watch it. I forgot what it's called. It's the story on how McDonald's started. And for somebody like you who likes movies and stuff like that,
I love history too.
You would love it.
Be fascinated.
Speaking of love it, we love you. We'll see you tomorrow.